don't think it can talk back.
No, it can't. I'm just greeting whoever's on the other side. Presumably, it must be our friend the Lich, which is very exciting.
Oh God! Now all of China knows we are here.
There's a sound as you say that. There is a phrase that begins to be repeated, whispers at first. Come and see.
I don't mean to be precocious about this, but do you mean come and see further into the tunnel? Do you mean come to the fun zombie circus? It's actually, I could interpret this a few ways. I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be irritating.
Hello everybody, and welcome. We're D&D Boyband, a group of friends all like play D&D Pretty Boys, because apparently it's not fantasy unless everybody's hot. We are back after a week break. Are we all good, Clued?
Yeah, fine.
Okay.
Just fucking up
We're
the
not
audio.
muted.
No, good. We are back after a week's break because somebody had the gall to have a birthday, and then be unwell. Sorry about that. My name is Jamie, and joining me tonight are a group of fantastic D&D players. First of all, we have Ben as Mercy, who's back as well.
Bless the maker and his water, everyone.
Sai as Quan,
Hello.
Clued as Casimir,
Turning 30 years old was merely a setback.
Eski as Pod,
Hello.
and Luke as Arvis.
Laugh and grow fat.
Brothers.
Remember, there is there is no making things right, only better than they were.
Brothers, there's
Before we begin,
an important thing to announce, which is that Jen has just redeemed his mighty cash-in of 100,000 channel points, which is like many years, by the way, of supporting us. So thank you, Jen. You have earned the right with 100,000 to create. What is it? Create a big bad evil guy. I think that's like full control. Have fun with that one, Jamie.
Yeah, pretty much. So obviously, Jen, message me. We'll talk about it. I will have some creative control around when they show up, and obviously some aspects. But surely, yes, feel free to. I don't know if you have a dossier ready. But congratulations, thank you so much. That's an amazing achievement. I don't know if we have fanfares, but we should definitely do.
Oh,
We have rounds of applause though with our hands.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we have.
He's already got a
100,000
manifesto
channel
written.
points.
It's actually a dissertation on this BPG.
like we know that you'll make him hot, but like I don't know. Give us like a preview of what tropes, maybe what like his niche might be, so we can you know how it is. Anyway, I'm excited.
I'm trepidatious, but it can't be. I will say that there's a little mini arc going on now. You can certainly be the bad guy of the next arc. So anyway, we'll talk about it. Please do message.
If you're stuck for ages, just make me a boyfriend.
What do you mean?
I have no plans this weekend. So do message Jen. All right. Where's my intro? To get everyone up to speed, including Messi wasn't here, you were left at the tomb entrance, and other than finding a flyer to the circus, you found relatively little in your first couple of rooms. A few tests were laid before you to kind of evaluate whether or not you were worthy of of entering further into these catacombs, whether or not you were true to the teachings of Tyr, of justice, and you understood what that meant rather than just an ideal, but in practice. And then you were confronted by a reanimated corpse of Sir Alistair Valen, a hero of old. After defeating him, you found the group that had been sent down here, all of them killed. You spoke with one of them to discover that they had been blighted by a robed figure off in the distance. I believe you've animated one of them too, who has agreed to come and enact vengeance.
Yeah, we practiced ethical necromancy last week.
We asked for their permission first
Mm-hmm.
to make sure.
That's such a corporate introduction. Here at Necrocorp, we practice ethical necromancy.
Oh, I'm
We
dead.
did. We did ask him. We did ask him.
Our actions
I'm
were
not an
fully in
interested
line
subject.
with our ESG agenda. I would like to make that very clear.
Okay. This is where you left it. You are approaching the next room. You have been through 2 trials, followed by a actual burial ground. But as such, you have not found any evidence of these weapons, these relics that you have been sent here to find. And you now know what happened to the party that came down here before. Perhaps this puts some of you more on edge, as they were clearly dispatched quickly and with relative ease.
We were told that it was like a bejeweled, tight
Yes.
skin, spooky floating guy, right? And a whole bunch of
Mhm.
robed chappies.
Yep.
Okay, and have we been given any indication how much further we have left to go? Is it like one trial left?
Yes, there's 1 trial left, is what you've been told.
And this is all in sort of an effort to retrieve. I can't remember what the 5 items are called, but they're like holy, like
So,
artifacts
yeah.
of the
So
ecclesiarchy, right?
Yeah, what you were told is the Immaculate Ecclesiarchy, whenever they are in Alarafa to honor the dead, those who died during the War of Shame, as they do every year with representatives of Mystery Academia, and they have told you that part of this pilgrimage is people are sent, like initiates or aspiring members of the ecclesiarchy are sent down into these crypts to retrieve these artifacts as they form part of the ritual. I believe someone rolled well enough on history to know that that is not the case. These artifacts are not used in the rituals, and they are in fact articles of war. You have also found out that all evidence so far is pointing towards the ecclesiarchy attempting to invade Dominus, and even going so far as to attempt to recruit the Flameblade Syndicate to support them. You have found evidence and letters to that effect, and also battle plans indicating that they were going to land on the only land bridge between kind of the outer continents and central Dominus, Geb's Bridge.
Actually, quick question on that one, Jamie. Do we have like timelines for that? Do we know when this great landing is to be enacted?
No, it was more about the logistics were begin. It was fairly in the infancy stage. You get the sense that they themselves are planning what and when is possible. Oh, and that people are being conscripted as well. You found that too. So this is what allies do we have? What are the timelines? What resources do we have? And how many people? Rather than the when. Obviously, the entire world is beginning to look towards Abaddon's empire, where they believe that Abaddon is sallying forth, and it seems the ecclesiarchy have taken this as an opportunity to hide their actions under the we're mustering to fight this rather than their true objective.
Comprendo.
That's
Okay.
probably obviously you have a mission from High Arbiter Baltorin to I've forgotten her first name. I'll go look at it in my notes. Lysandra, I think.
Vivian.
To let her know this is more than enough evidence you contain between these war documents and this letter. But you were caught, and this is kind of you attempting to maybe also understand what side of this you should be on.
All right.
So,
What's in the next room?
with the cold air of the crypt going through you, with the understanding that there is potentially more danger ahead, knowing that whoever came through this has left traps, perhaps more cautiously, you step delicately into the next room.
Is anyone looking real busted after the fight, by the way? Are we in short rest need? How are we looking?
I could take a little in. How are your key points looking, Mercy?
Was Mercy piloted? No. We don't know.
I don't think we did. I think we basically just ignored his existence.
I think I'm
That's right.
looking pretty dead.
Maybe.
So we could short
Sorry?
rest.
Oh yeah, some of us took a lot of damage.
Did anyone pilot Mercy while I wasn't here a couple of weeks
I
ago?
don't think we
No.
did.
No, so you're fine.
Okay.
Mercy tripped and was petting the cat in the previous
Yeah.
room.
I guess I've caught up to you guys. So I've just lost behind. I disappeared.
Covered in cat blood.
Cool. I remember the
Fuck,
cat now.
blood
For a second there, I thought that was like some kind of euphemism. I was like, wow.
No,
Yeah, I guess
literally petting the cat.
Jesus. I did not kill the cat, guys.
Okay.
Meow.
Short resting then?
Suppose we should make use of hit dice once in our entire D&D careers, right?
In the
Suppose
short
you did it
rest, I think Casimir sits apart from the others, and you witness him, I think, with the kind of sharp rings on his pinky fingers just form slices down the sides of his neck, and the blood sort of like flows out, coalesces, changes color into this kind of bright, formless white, and absorbs back into himself. And you unmistakably watch him sit there and perform blood magic on himself, which is a ritual he picked up from us somewhere this campaign. He doesn't seem to feel fit to explain himself, but he does it and continues resting.
Just in the open.
Just openly, yeah.
Casimir, what's he doing?
Oh, I used quite a lot of magic in the previous battle, and I've actually been waiting for an opportunity to try this. See, the twins that we fought in Razor's subterranean nightmare chasm left behind books which detailed some rituals I thought I might repurpose for my own needs. I can convert my own life energy into the energy required for magic. It only hurts a little.
Pod kind of pauses and think, that's very practical.
Isn't it just? And I'm doing the blood magic on me, so I am the only victim.
The what magic?
The blood magic. I'm at School of Magic like anything else, it's, more about the application. And the application here is I want more spells.
It just like kind of freezes and like looks very like plain like and turns towards Mercy.
This is like,
Did he just say
But-
blood magic?
I think so, Pod. But, well, Casimir, I suppose that my objection to the practice of this is the malicious application of this. I suppose as long as you're sort of doing it to yourself and
Right.
it seems to be a small piece of magic and not outwardly harming another. But perhaps you, given its sort of significance and connotations, you keep it to yourself.
No, of course. And there must be many applications. I attempted to study Razor's twins' particular rituals. I suspect I probably could reenact most of it, though obviously I have absolutely no inclination of doing so.
And did you learn anything else from studying their books, papers, whatever that you haven't shared as yet?
No, not as such, to be honest. Deeper delving into the art of blood magic has told me it's quite similar to my necromancy, but not in a way I can really articulate or is helpful to us, so no. But this is a neat trick, so I will keep doing it.
I have a question. In order to practice this, can anyone pick this up? Or do you think that your background as an arcanist predispose you to being able to manipulate this blood magic already?
I'm not sure. I mean, it certainly helped me think about this in the right way, but if Pod or Arvis, Quan, or even Mercy, if you wanted to, we could try. I could try to show you how.
No. It's not what I meant. I meant how easily accessible is this panel?
Jamie, if I showed ye old blood magic ritual to people, is it something that they would be able to pick up, or is it literally wizard gets it because wizard do magic?
Blood magic is not so. Yeah, it's obviously you need to have some understanding of the arcane. It is a ritual, but the point of, or part of the danger or power of blood magic is its, as you found, its flexibility. It's not difficult to manipulate this magic because it is in some ways a universal reagent. So it was one of the easiest things you've learned, but it does no doubt require a knowledge of the arcane.
And grave sacrifice.
Yes.
Kind of relays that. Well, no, I mean, it's doubtless my predisposition towards magic, but frankly, it's quite simple. I'm surprised people don't do this more often. I suppose it's just not shared widely. Honestly, the second you tell the mages at large of Flakai that if they just slit their wrists, they'll be popping off magic missiles all day, I imagine they'll be doing it for fun.
It's that potential that I'm somewhat concerned about.
Generally, if you slit your wrists, you start to bleed out and die.
Well, okay, a little higher then, but you know.
Well, I just recall that the ecclesiarchy are obtaining a number of talismans to ward against the general application of this, and if it's easy to learn, easy to teach, perhaps we'll understand why.
I've been pondering a defense mechanism of my own. When we're not underground in a subterranean holy hellhole, I might bring out my papers and show you. I thought perhaps if I can use it, why not create my own variant, protective style against it. I haven't quite formulated it, but I have thoughts.
Would it be? Could you teach it to all of us, or would it be something again you, because of your knowledge and specialism, could only practice?
I'm not sure, though I imagine anything I write will probably make sense to me and fellow practitioners alone, but I mean, I'd certainly be keen to use it to protect the lot of you. Anyway, I believe they have a temple to raid.
No. 1 second, mate. I've got a question.
Shoot.
Well, could you change people with that? I think you know what I'm getting at, mate.
You mean physically?
Yeah. Maybe a bit more than that, but yeah.
DM, is that an application that would make sense?
No. You're using the energy as batteries. It's draining it and manipulating it, but it's not changing it. No.
We could use it to power a powerful spell that could do it. I mean, I know the very great mages of the world can permanently alter forms, but that's nothing to do with blood magic, that we could use it to power such a thing. No, a permanent polymorph, as it were, is something that very few in the world can accomplish. But I imagine
Is that what you
that's
think?
the scale that you would require of us. I mean, if we can turn people into sheep and keep them stuck there for the rest of their lives, then I imagine we could alter you to whatever suits you best.
Is that what you think happened to you, Arvis? Some sort of powerful, very powerful spell?
I'll be real with you, mate. Some of it was magic. Some of it was just plain wrong.
Perhaps to change or undo it, we would need a better understanding of what magic went into it and what wrongness made up the other part.
I think you're probably right, mate. I mean, I think I'm probably about 2% undead.
We could test it.
I think I would have noticed. I think you're okay.
Is that something
To
you
say there's
can?
anything wrong with it, mate, but I was just saying, I thought there was maybe something involved, of course.
You know, we say we'd notice, but Pod, we failed to notice the spirit of your brother inhabiting your shield for months, so maybe we
Oh,
would have no
yes.
clue.
Well, that that was a slight oversight. But generally, I'm quite good at spotting the undead if it's not within an inanimate object.
Ooh.
It's very unlikely that Pod and I would not notice.
Well, all due respect, Quan, you didn't notice Pod's brother's soul stuck in his shield either, so...
That's not quite the same thing.
And further to that point, I would argue that corpses typically are what you would refer to as an inanimate object.
On that note, Pod, what are you up to? Plundering a tomb?
We're
Pod,
not plundering
what's he saying?
anything. We
Dar would
haven't
be proud.
taken anything. We're here to make things right.
Criminal now, are we?
Like pauses. Is it? Look, if you're talking about the other night, that was for good reasons. We were trying to find out to stop a war.
The road
Don't
to the
ask me
Seven
about the
Hells
ring. That was no.
is paved with stupid excuses.
Pod, why is it that only you can hear him? Your brother, that is.
I'm not
Is it
entirely
just-
sure, and I wish it wasn't the case.
Can you still hear him if you don't hold the shield?
I don't know.
What if we all put
He-
our hands
He
on
goes
the
to he
shield?
goes to hand the shield to Mercy. Like,
I guess Mercy will
look.
hold it. Hello?
Nothing.
sorry,
Pod's
it's that little
brother.
phone thing before.
I don't hear anything, Pod.
Maybe he's shy.
Strange. But perhaps we should see what happened to what's the name of the dead guy who is reanimated?
I don't remember. I must have written
I
it.
have it.
Somewhere.
No, I have it. That's fine. Is it Doran? It is Doran.
Warren?
Doran.
Captain
Oh, my favorite
Doran.
top laner.
Duran.
That was a lie.
He's alright. I'm more of a Zeus girl myself, but I have Aemon Thalor written down. Who's he?
Aemond. Someone's
Maybe
been
he's
watching too
slightly
much House of the
confused
Dragon.
identity after,
Yeah.
everything
Was
that's
that not the
happened.
knight? No, Alistair Valen was the knight you killed. Maybe I was drunk.
Likely, doesn't
So
it?
what-
All right,
What is
Doran
this
it
guy's
is.
name?
Doran.
Doran.
Doran, the dead paladin.
Yes.
Okay. We should probably find whoever killed Doran so he can finish his unfinished business and pass on peacefully.
Right. Keen to leave Paladin town.
Casimir, do you have a sense of the kind of skills, ability, and combat prowess that Doran and his pilgrims possessed? Were they very capable, or were they sort of puppies?
Jamie, what stat block do I have for Doran, the dead paladin?
I can give it to you. I'd say
Yes,
that
please.
they were probably around level, like a level 4 paladin.
Vastly inferior to us.
Wow. Brutal.
And I compute that into like a Casimir ego minus like reasonableness equals
Yeah, like,
what they actually were.
Like an aspiring initiate is what you've been told. These aren't like, these are probably like a solidly good fighter for the ecclesiarchy who are being considered for more but haven't reached it yet.
Okay.
You know, I would say they were qualified to retrieve objects of war from a vault and choose to not kill cats, but I wouldn't say they were qualified to fight the missing god of the lost plane, which is, feet weak and raw belts. Stormlands. We've actually done quite a lot.
Wait, is that? I thought you described there was a a figure sort of floating, robed.
Covered in jewels, lich-like it sounds to me. I'm quite excited.
Okay.
I've always wanted to meet a lich, I must say. I'm not keen on the concept of lichdom, I would like to make that very clear. The idea of being grotesque for eternity does not appeal. But I do think it's quite cool to witness. Anyway. Liches. Let's go find one.
So, the door is open at the end. The torches are not lit. Peering in, though, there is something, many things, glinting from the light that is being driven from this room. There are shiny things up ahead, is what you can tell.
Uh-oh.
I just light a torch and maybe throw it in towards the shiny things.
Yep. As it goes on the ground, you see it kind of flame and begin to illuminate around it. There are suits of armor. Incredibly fine suits of armor. You see perhaps in the torch's light, I'll say 2 figures standing, and you see that they're clutching kind of, holding swords like this down and wearing incredibly fine, intricately carved, decorated armor. The swords themselves as well, the hilt and the handle beautifully polished. The blades of the sword look as if they could have been forged yesterday.
I know when I see a fortune, and I know when I see a trip. And that is both.
My inner Rasha just got really excited and wizard, not a forged cleric.
It's, I understand, a commonplace for wizards particularly, but mages to enchant suits of armor or statues, etc., with armor to waken as a kind of trap. I believe we should try to see whether this is the case.
DM, I
Yes.
would be interested in initially just investigating rather conventionally so for traps.
Yeah, go for it. Make an investigation check. You go along this room.
I'll give myself guidance and roll that motherfucker out. What does that come
Can I
out
give
as?
Arvis the
28?
help action?
Yeah.
All right, it's 22. I'll roll the d4 now. Right, you little d4. There you are. What are you saying? What was that, +4? That's good. So it's 26, and then let me roll that advantage in that case. That's the same again. So it's 26.
Obviously, you step forward, and I'm going to say you go into this room, and as you go into this room, torches kind of light up, clearly magically. And looking around, and all of you see this, there are 10 figures in this room, standing guard, and there is an inscription, which I'll read to you in a second. But looking quickly through, this isn't necessarily a perception check; it's very obvious to all of you. Some of these figures are the suits of armor you saw, the incredibly well carved, beautifully polished. Some of them seem to be wearing kind of robes, holding books open in front of them, amulets, and kind of heavily jeweled wrists as well. All of that immediately obviously catches your attention, obviously, and we'll talk about that in a second. But what catches your attention before that is you are very careful, even at the things, and you look up and you notice that directly above you, there's a crossbow trap, and you see kind of the wire beneath it. And looking around, you see that there's throughout this room a couple more of these set up with lines. Clearly, someone has booby trapped this room. That if you were to walk through, you would get shot at by crossbows, and they're also attached to bells, which would ring. And I'd say to the more wise or smart amongst you, at this point, there's been nothing here that is just here to trap you. There have been tests that you can pass or fail, but this is the first time that there is a trap that is literally designed to kill somebody if they get it wrong, and to alarm people that some people are coming. It is incongruous with the rest of what you've seen.
This implies Lichy Boy probably left this one rather than the nice paladins.
I would say that based on the magical ability demonstrated in the rising of somebody, that probably, maybe again the wiser amongst you, or those more reasoned, it's difficult to conceptualize that somebody who could just raise a corpse would leave this as a trap. Leave this as a trap.
It's a bit goofy compared to like
Mm.
animated.
I say obviously
like
well, with
more of
that
a rogue
role,
thing
these are
rather than a
quite
wizard thing.
amateur. You don't have respect for this craftsmanship. You're not even sure if this trap would work if you triggered it.
Lovely. One thing I'd like to ask about them: do they look like they are weighted pulleys? So if you were to cut the cables, they would fire, bells would ring, or is it simply they're like drag traps? So if you cut the cables, they're just loose. It doesn't ring a bell. It doesn't fire a crossbow. See what I mean?
It's you go through the line and that would snap it in half, which would pull on a bell and then pull on the crossbow thing. So it's a pull trap, but it would in theory activate both the bell and the crossbow.
Cool. Just by if I had to cut the wires, for example, they would fire in that case.
They would
ring.
fire, yes,
Just-
yes.
Okay, cool.
It's the tension in the thing that's keeping them both in place.
Right. Well, it's pretty old school what we're looking at here. It's a series of. I don't know why they call them shotgun traps. I couldn't tell you that, mate. But that's what they call them. Something of a crossbow tied to a piece of string. That piece of string goes awry, it's firing. But also there's a few bells here and there too. Something of a crude alarm. I don't know why they'd bother with the bells. Frankly, if you get hit by a crossbow bolt, I'm pretty sure you'd be yelping just the same.
It's strange to have a mundane sort of mechanical trap, as you say, such amateur skill and quality. If it's the source is this mage of some kind that was able to obliterate the pilgrims and also create the undead guardian that you talked about.
I know where you're going with this, mate, and I thought it was a given. This is not left by the temple itself or its spiritual inhabitants once upon a time. This is new work, and this is poor work. And this certainly isn't the work of an arcanist.
No, a necromancy of my caliber would never resort to bells and crossbows of all things. It's pretty gauche. It goes without saying, by the way, it's pretty laughable that he's just said a necromancer of his caliber when clearly this guy, a lich, is just objectively better than him. But you may kindly choose not to point that out to him.
And the query to the dear DM, the suits of armor, do they contain skeletons? Do they have any crossbow bolts in them or markations of crossbow bolts? Have the crossbows been fired? Any of them? Were these once an undead or an animated constructs that have come across the trap and been felled by the trap?
So, looking at them, there is no, and you can, there is no skeleton inside of them. There is no crossbow bolts on them. They are pristine, almost untouched. I will say with the 26 investigation, they have moved. You can look around and there are slight indents in the floor. There's a little bit of specks of dust that can give you that impression that, yeah, these are all, or some of them at least, are capable of animation. With the 26 as well, maybe the rest of you walk in and I'll just kind of guide you around. This room hums ever so slightly, and the inscription at the end reads, "Honor the fallen." Every single one of these, it's not just that they may have magical enchantment on them. Every sword and every suit of armor, every amulet, every wrist is a magical item.
Bloody hell.
And the spell books, looking at them, a plethora of spells. 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. There's even Time Warp in there.
Maybe one's like half open and Casimir's eyes just lock on it, and he just quite tightly says aloud, "Listen, gentlemen, I'm really aware that probably this whole thing is a trap designed to entice us into taking things we should not take, and Tia would be upset with us, but I really want to read that book so badly, and I will read it if someone does not stop me."
I go over and stop Casimir. It's commendable restraint that you've been able to voice this urge.
Thank you.
And
I'm trying to be better.
it's I'm astounded. I can really see your growth.
Amulets of defense. +3 swords. +3 armor.
Oh, right. Okay, no, okay, all right. This is more important than anything we've come across, or probably will. So, right. Who's got Dispel Magic?
Arvis, the likelihood that this is real
Right.
is extremely low.
Right, if Tia had a vault like this, it would not be here. It would be in the Ecclesiarchy. It would be in Zenith. The worth in this room alone is obscene. This, quite true, Mercy. This cannot be real. I don't need to read the book. Fuck it. Ignore
This
it.
is clearly a test of conviction, a test of virtue, as you've described, as I came through in the other rooms. The cat, a test of what was Jamie? What was the word you used? Ford?
Compassion.
A test of compassion. The scales, a test of justice. These are principles that they are looking for you in order to claim the gauntlet, the sword, these items.
This, my friend, is a test of gratitude.
This
Surely we
is
shouldn't turn up our noses, and he's
Sniffs to the room of his rat-like nose.
we shouldn't turn our noses up at such
do not harvest, do not
generous
fall
offering.
the way of so many greedy thieves that come before you. Cunning and clever, you notice the physical traps, but it is the spiritual traps, the intellectual traps
Fine.
that will.
He sort of snaps at that point. He says,
Fine. All right, well, what we can do, somebody can cast a spell. You can detect magic, can't you?
I have no doubt that if Pod or Casimir were to detect it, they would find magic.
Yes.
This is your heart's desire.
Yes,
But
yes,
we
I'm
had
sure.
to honour the floor.
Honor the
I'm
fallen.
saying,
I
mate,
can,
if it's
but
an
I don't think I
illusion,
should.
we can find out it's an illusion. If it ain't, then you know.
Well, let's try the obvious with honouring the fallen, and he'll turn to the two in the middle and just sort of wave his hand and look slightly uncomfortably says it. Yeah, sorrows, prayers.
Well, the door at the end's already open.
Oh, is it?
There's no
Yeah.
reaction. Yeah. Well, I say
now
that.
it's open.
The stone door is already open, but someone has boarded it up with wooden planks that actually smell slightly of sewage.
Gregory, you're disgusting. Quite frankly, you're vile.
Fucking Gregory. Greg's a
Jesus.
fucking lich.
Jesus.
I'm going to be honest, Arvis. My brother was not so pleased with our as he described it, antics last time, and I think that I really shouldn't be stealing things, especially times where this time we were told explicitly not to. Last time was a little bit, let's just say, a little more room for interpretation, maybe. You know, I mean, it's not a great defense, but it's all I got. This time, there's really no excuse. We were told not to.
Remind me, where we told not to? Was this by the
You were told to
We may
find
not
out
have
what
been.
happened to the party. In that you have already gone beyond your stated objective.
Yeah. We could always turn back, but that's not really our style, really, isn't it?
If it will make you feel better, I can ritual cast Detect Magic and just prove, to make us both feel better, Arvis, that none of this is real. If we have 10 minutes to spare. Maybe the rest of
I have a
you.
ritual. I know how to do it a different way. A little concoction here, a slight concoction there, and I can work it out just the same. I thought somebody would have it quick to the wrist, is all.
Well, it just won't cost me any effort if I spend 10 minutes on it.
You know, I think it would probably be best to ignore the temptation in its entirety.
We're just looking for closure.
Unless Arvis and Casimir, you perhaps are looking for the... Oh, he... Are there any, like, dead bodies? There were, like, dead bodies at the beginning of the dungeon, right, DM? Or, like, in the
You
middle?
found them. Yeah, in the middle.
Okay. Unless you're wanting to end up like our friends.
Oh, good buddy,
He looks
Doran.
really strained when he's saying this, like...
Sorry, Doran.
My compatriots not die here. This is clearly a test, one that we should not fail.
Well, you don't want to take anything. What would you do? You're a paladin of Tyr. You're an initiate, an aspirant moving through. What would you do?
But not steal from the dead. I've already said it several times.
Agreed.
We were
would
not going
say
to steal
that,
from
though,
the dead,
that's a
sir.
bit
I
biased
promise you, sir, we
because
weren't
he's
going to steal
dead.
from the dead.
Arbus, there is. Perhaps you could take a look at the boards at the end of the hallway at the door, and tell us whether they have any sort of similar bell trap, and maybe you just point out the trip wires for the what did you call them? The shotgun traps.
Yeah, something like that, mate. But I can tell you from here that board work is, and frankly, mate, it's offensive. More offensive than anything I've seen in here. Anything more offensive I've seen done to the dead or stealing from the dead, I can assure you that craft work over there is nothing short of heresy.
Certainly not honouring the dead, making their halls smell of shit, I'll say that much.
Well,
But
the dead do often
I
smell.
can go and
like
have a
Etsy.
look, but I don't see why it wouldn't be helpful to us, especially with such a complicated room, to spend a few minutes casting a spell anyway.
well, look, while you do it, I'll just make sure we've not missed anything that is important. And if we can't get the boards off, I'll blast them in a... And I guess
Right, you are.
while Arvis is boarding, I'll just ritual cast detect magic. I'm sure he'll...
Yeah, as you're discussing it, Casimir can be casting this. Every item, every sword, every suit of armor, every amulet, every book, every ring glows with the expected magic.
What expected magic is that?
Magic.
So there aren't. So unfortunately, detect magic are schools of magic, like a ring of the ram or a +3 sword doesn't necessarily have a magic type. But I will say, with that cast, all these items are what they appear to be. They aren't illusions.
He
So they are magic
mournfully...
items, right?
mournfully stares at a spellbook of which he is certain he sees Meteor Swarm poking out of the corner. And he just says, "They're all fake, they're illusions, Arvis. Spare no
We've
more
all
thought.
seen Aladdin. We know how this ends.
Spare no more thought to them."
It's a shame, mate. Fucking darn shame.
Yeah.
But it's always good to check, you see, using magic, and it's not a terrible idea when committing a theft, when investigating inanimate objects that belong to nobody.
Yep. And presumably Arvis is the other end of the wall, the room, working on the boards. Chasm is going to turn to maybe like Quan, Mercy Pod, and just mouth, "They're not fake." Shake his head and just like bite the side of his hand and just look really pained.
Did
I
you
watch
say we...
Casimir really closely.
Michael, give me strength.
So DM, I'm going to use the Artificer's magical tinkering ability, taking out alchemist tools in this case, and applying a pair of different coloured chalks together, and they begin to glow. And he paints just tiny object. So let's just say like a ball bearing from a bag of ball bearings, and just leaves them on the way as he navigates the room around, keeping a good berth from any of
The
the
traps.
illusions, but leaving markers where the traps are. Small, slight glowing ball bearings, nothing blasting light, but yeah, as he makes his way to the wooden boards.
Okay. Yep, absolutely. With your roll proto, you get past it. What do you want to do with the boards? They've clearly been like, they're haphazard. You can see through them into a room beyond. They're clearly not part of this room. Like, it's not natural. These have been like pulled from somewhere and placed here.
Cool, interesting. Bear with me. Let me consult the appendix I've created for myself. That is this one, this one, this one. I'm just going to see briefly what the Tinker's Tools proficiency allows me to do. Determine the age of origin of object. You can inspect a damaged object, acknowledge how it was damaged, or I can repair it. Would I gain anything about the age or origin of the objects, investigating them?
Yeah, I mean,
or
these
how
are,
they were
they all
damaged?
look, yeah, they all look quite old. They've clearly been parts of larger structures. They are rotting. They are soaked with water. You get the sense they haven't been placed here for long, based on the fact that there's not water around, so you don't know where it is. These have clearly been moved, and in the time they've been moved, they haven't dried.
Interesting. Would I know? Could we think of anywhere in here along the way we'd have seen wet wood,
No.
or would have an opportunity to
No.
be wet?
No water or anything. There's been a dry tomb up until now.
And does it smell of maybe
Sewage.
soggy fresh water or seawater or sewage
Sewage.
specifically?
Yep.
I was going to use the message spell to relay some of this back to the group and perhaps be a little miffed as I briefly investigate again what my alchemist supplies proficiency allows me to ascertain.
Mercy will be with you, and after I
I can
guess
give you
maybe
guidance. That
a
helps.
few minutes of looking at this, they'll say, "So, what is it? Is there something on there?" Or
Yeah, DM actually is with a proficiency in alchemist supplies. When you inspect an area for clues, proficiency of alchemist supplies grants additional insight into any chemicals or other substances that might have been used in the area. So can I get any insight into the sewage? Maybe, yeah.
I will say both stealth checks from both of you, given how close you're having to get to this. I presume you're being stealthy.
Was it just me, or was somebody else coming?
Mercy was there too.
Okay, cool.
Do we think the boyos are directly on the other side of here?
maybe based on
That's a
that,
good 28 from me.
What did you
Plus a
get, Mercy?
D4.
I got 20 less.
Okay. Mercy, as you
So that's
approach,
32 from me.
yeah, Mercy, as you approach, Arvis is almost like indistinguishable. He's barely visible, and you kind of look around, you get everything, and you kind of kick a stone, and it slams into the wall next to the wood, and Arvis probably whips round and looks at you like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Shit.
Arvis, looking at this, there's small specks of stone that are a bit incongruous to the rest of it. Looking at this, it's not just wood, it's wood that has kind of got random pebbles, a little bit of rocks that almost looks like it's been like flung into it. You can probably reason that whatever wood this was hit with some kind of stone, or basically a rock or something was thrown at it, and there's remnants of it with quite some force. And these are the splinters or the planks that were kind of, taken and moved. I don't know what you're necessarily asking or expecting. There is various races, piss and feces and water on this. Nothing jumps out as like poison or like a certain type of algae you'd recognize or that. It's just this has been in sewage water, probably out of Rafa's sewers.
Arvis straight away, bit of copper wire, wraps it around couple of his metallic teeth and cast the message cantrip once again, relaying that back, sounding a little stumped by all that information.
So there's some
Very quickly, perception check from before we get there. Perception check from Mercy and Arvis as the effect of the 8 stealth roll takes place.
Can I use my passive perception?
Oof, that's a natural one from me on this perception.
No, this is active, very active.
Okay, I got a 15.
Don't hear anything. Please continue, Clue.
Fucking dead, bruv.
So, can you remove the boards? Do I need to blow things up? What's the deal?
Well, Arvis,
No.
can you remove the boards?
Yeah, man, I've got a fucking crowbar. Of course I can remove the boards. So you think I've done? You think I've not broken into a place before?
Well,
I assume that's what you were doing.
Well, I'm not gonna fucking do it if I don't know what it is, mate.
well, presumably the lich and ambushers are waiting on the other side. Throw them open, we'd show up, blow more things up, win, go home.
Right, well,
And this is again, he's whispering through the message spell.
well, oh no, mate. So I feel like I don't really want to try and sneak down this one alone. I could try. I could try.
I mean, I could
There's
just
not
have,
going to be a super quiet way to do this.
could have Doran kick them in, I suppose.
Nah, fuck that, mate. It's going to be way too loud.
Well, judging from the massive clatter you guys just made over there, I imagine they know we're here.
They know there's one of us. Maybe the rest of you should keep your head down, stay around the corner. I'll keep myself laying low. I'll do a bit of leveraging with the crowbar. And Mercy, maybe you, as your punishment, could stay somewhere in the open to be seen. Perhaps it's better if they know we're coming. They think there's only one of us.
Could you quietly move one of the boards? Perhaps we could peer in first.
There's a small gap. Can kind of see, but we couldn't see anything on the other side. And yes, other side be fine to act as decoy.
Yeah, decoy suits you better than Mercy with sneaking around like that, mate.
You can call me whatever you wish.
Right, you are.
And Arvis out of his burglar sack is going to slip a crowbar, and begin to quietly as possible wrench it away. How was it attached? How are these boards in place? Are they
They're
nailed
not.
in place?
They're not attached. They are thrown together using each other as like basically leverage. Like it's very heartily like put together with using like leaning up against the wall, like across each other. You don't need a crowbar. You could gently pick these up and move them.
The plot thickens.
Yeah, hold on a fucking minute. These ain't boarded up, mate. This is just debris. Anybody could take this stuff out by hand.
Then as the most dexterous among us.
Nah,
Like-
mate.
Like you're playing Jenga.
Nah, mate. Never heard of it. Send your fucking bloke in.
And he points to you.
Aaron?
Suddenly steps forward and are you just asking him to just take things off?
I fear we're making him a target, but yeah, I mean, I guess, can he quietly try and move, maybe like if there's a board that looks loose or is, one that's less obviously in the center that we could kind of peer through? There are like,
Okay,
like a sideboard.
Can you make a stealth roll for him with the stat block? He
With
gave
stat
you
block
that
means he's kidding
disadvantage
me.
because of his because of heavy armor.
I sure
yeah.
can.
If he's trying to take boards off, can I help him?
I finally got a cool zombie,
a flat
guys,
roll, let's say
and
that.
we're just gonna get him immediately
Okay.
killed. Natural one.
Oh, sake.
As he falls, like as he goes through, he kind of comes forward. He clangs down. He grabs it. A couple of them fall off, and as a result, there is a huge resounding boom as it goes through, as it hits his own armor, goes onto the side, and there is, emerging from the hole, you see a arrow ping fling through and like hit something far behind. It doesn't seem to be aiming, and through the gap that has now been created, incredibly unstealthily, you hear somebody yell, "And that's just a warning shot. Bugger off! This is ours."
There you go. There you fucking
That's
go.
some muck energy right there. I love it.
We found it.
You're
Find your own
squatting.
place.
You're squatting in a temple of Tyr. You know that, right?
There's a couple of like conversations on the other side and say, "No, you leave."
You're going to be smited in holy fire. You'll be dragged to the hells for your evil behaviors.
Excuse me, gentlemen, he says around the corner. We've been sent by the Immaculate Ecclesiarchy to clear out their very sacred tomb, and I'm afraid that you are not allowed to be here. I believe.
I'm a sovereign citizen. No, we're not. Just
Magna Carta vibes.
Oh my god.
Give me
Squatters'
2
rights.
seconds. I haven't played D&D in too long, and I need to make sure that I don't misname the guard. He does. I do have a response.
Doran?
Why? Well, sorry. Where? Sorry, I'm
Doran's
scrolling
okay,
desperately.
right?
Yeah. No, the arrow was like clearly designed as an actual warning shot. He didn't even hit him.
Nice.
Yeah. Sorry. I did give you the name of the leader of the guard and also the name of the guard.
Kind of banging this stat block.
Not the canoness woman.
No.
The general.
No, this is the guard of the city. Sorry. Here we are. Not the Guild of Mourning. Not the Veil Keepers. The Winged Sentinels. It kind of pulls out and says, You're not here to arrest us? You're not part of the Sentinels?
I mean, not directly part of the Sentinels. We're more like contractors.
The mercenaries, probably
Ew.
same as you.
Alright, well, go away.
You know there's a lich down here, right? He's going to sear the flesh from your bones and reanimate them so they dance to his tune. Unless you happen to be very strong, which we are, by the way, that's your fate. Do you maybe want to come out and leave and go somewhere a little safer?
Make a persuasion check.
I thought you were going to say make a deception check, and I was about to get really offended there.
It's all right. 19.
19. There's like whispering from behind. He goes, a what?
Lich, floating skeleton with skin, subsists of the souls of the damned. Do you know they kill at least one a day to maintain their ability to stay alive indefinitely?
Ooh,
It
lich
sounds
facts,
like
I've been-
there's more than one of you in there. You could keep him going for what, a week? Lucky you.
Well, a crossbow will get him just like anyone else.
Oh no, it won't. I'm afraid. They tend to be able to deflect things like arrows. I mean, they're sort of monoliths of undeath. They regenerate. They look into your soul and steal memories that you can't even remember yourself. They tear apart your minds from inside, or they immolate your flesh.
We haven't taken anything. We've just slept here, so if we let you in and we don't attack you, you won't arrest us.
No.
Yeah?
We just need to
Deal?
get through the fucking tunnel. Open up.
Swear it. Swear on it.
I mean, we're just looking for the lich, really. I mean, you're not really supposed to be here, but that doesn't mean that we're going to do any harm by you.
Yeah, how are we supposed to know? There's no signs.
I mean, how did you get in here in the first place? Like, it's not that easy.
There's a tunnel.
All right, but
Oh.
you've picked the wrong tunnel. It was a bad choice, an unlucky one. We won't kill
I
you.
was-
Fucking sewers.
I think it makes sense that they didn't necessarily pass the trial of purity. That does make a lot of sense to me.
We're going to kick your boards down. If you shoot at us, you'll wish the lich got to you first.
I'll
Yeah.
just
You
step
gonna-
through.
You're gonna keep their balls down?
Darren, off you go.
Aaron starts tearing the boards up, and there's like, yeah, there's not actually any other arrow fire. Is you now come through, and this room is peer around. There's a small campfire that's kind of smoking, and what smells begins to. Some of the smell now goes from the sewage, but now smells of smoke and slightly burnt meat. And there's kind of, maybe once finished too. There's a couple of bags rolled out. A couple of clothes have been hung up to dry. And looking around, you see 4 figures. Yeah, 4 figures. Three of them fairly poorly hidden, and one of them kind of standing in front of like an open sarcophagus. Every single sarcophagus, every tomb, every coffin in this room is open. And
We need to run these.
it's
guys
kind of a
through
couple.
now.
There's a bit of a spiral down, and you see it go down there. And as you look around, there is 2 perfectly carved circular tunnel leading out of this room. Clearly made not by a machine, because there's anything by magic. Smarter of you might be able to put some of this stuff together. That is where the smell of sewage and water and dampness is coming from. There is a person, looks to be kind of middle-aged, got a couple of scars, very skinny, wearing clothes, kind of holding a crossbow out and pointing it at you in front of you. And if you look around, you see all of these tombs completely open. A couple of them still have items and armor things still there.
Kazama's eyebrows are very
Is
skeptically
this the same
raised.
armor as the armor that was on the floor?
No.
He just sort of wordlessly turns to Quan and then to Darren, the paladins of Tyr. Eyebrows sort of halfway up his forehead, and he just sort of says nothing. But the implication is, mate's been stealing from your god.
Can I read this guy's weave to freak him out?
Yeah, go for it.
I would like to know.
Freak him
I'd
out.
like to know
He
his
does
name
that-
and the name of his father.
Damn.
I got a
San
16 plus 3
Al-Gaib.
Okay, yeah.
for a 9.
His name is Roderick, also known as the
Oh.
Rook.
The
Roderick
Rook?
Malin. Yeah. Father is Samwell Malin.
Okay. And I just sort of say,
Hang on a second.
Roderick Malin, son of Samuel, your path leads out of this place if you want to live.
What? That's damn creepy, right? Who the hell are you? How do you know me?
I know everything.
Please, my lord. He immediately collapses down, arms outstretched, like.
Kazuma
"Mercy."
just like leans in to the guy and just sort of crouches down and just whispers, "You know the lich I was talking about. You're looking at him."
Oh, Casimir, don't be cruel. Look at him.
But you were looking for him.
I'll
Yes, I
change my
found him.
face to be a little more sunken, a little more Voldemort-y, and my face will slowly change.
No, please, no.
You should leave.
One was
with
like
me.
dancing in front, being like, "Guys, I think this is very unnecessary. I don't think we need to be scaring these poor men. I mean, they've come from the sewers. They really, I mean, they don't have much." And just gestures to him in his attire.
And perhaps he should return to the sewers without the misbegotten goods.
I'm hungry.
We've taken nothing. We were just here for shelter and to get away. It's safe here. It's warm.
Sarcophagi
What are you
seem
getting away from?
remarkably empty.
Well, we found it like that.
Insight check.
Yeah, go for it.
If I can't steal from Tyr, no one can. 3 minus 1? Minus 2? That's
Yeah, I
either a
mean,
1 or a
think-
2.
You look around, the skeletons are missing. Nothing, like, other stuff is still there. What do you think he's done with all the skeletons?
I didn't know these skeletons were missing. Okay.
Yeah, I say empty as in the sense that, like, the skeletons and
Oh,
bodies aren't there.
I thought you meant
but-
like they were empty as in they'd been like looted, not that the skeletons were.
No, the skeletons are missing, but armor's still there, coins are still there,
Oh.
jewels are still there.
So you
that's
look
very
at
different. to
Pod
what I
looks
thought. Okay.
the guy directly in the face.
Yeah,
Were those crypts full of bodies before you arrived, or empty?
no, it was empty. That's why we thought it was fine. We're not desecrating anybody's dead.
There should be bodies in those. Generally,
I don't want to go in there.
most definitely.
You can't make me
No, I
go
don't
poo.
mean. Sorry, apologies. I didn't mean you. I meant is in the people who were dead in those corpses have been, or in those crypts have been resurrected, and they've been turned into, I assume, some sort of skeletal warrior or something. Probably marching around up there somewhere.
Oh yes, the Lich definitely took them.
Looks like our Lich has
He
been
took
here
them.
already.
Points of mercy.
Oh no, a different one, not this one.
Different
This one's
yes.
harmless. Don't worry about
There's
him. He's not
two!
harmless. He's actually very dangerous, but
That's
he's
2
harmless
souls
to
a
you.
day.
We've already fed this one today. Don't worry. He's had
Yeah,
his
we
fill.
don't associate with the other one. The other one's not our friend.
We feed this one ethically. Willing sacrifice
Well done.
only.
In so many of
Persuasion
your
check, deception check, actually. Sorry, what about persuasion check?
Deception check.
Yeah,
I did not make that
absolutely.
statement.
Disadvantage because Quan is here.
That's an 11.
Looks slightly doubting of your story.
I think
But he's
Casimir's
aware.
probably struggling not to laugh. Like his lips keep quirking up, and he just occasionally like chuckles to himself.
At this point, the others kind of, almost like step out, and you see that of the other 3 figures, there is a slightly, again, they all look quite a combination of hungry, cold, obviously everything. There's a half elf, kind of short, dark hair, very green eyes, quite gaunt, an elderly, much older, kind of human, that kind of lines along. You see there's many marks across his body, and then a half, like for you, the smallest half orc you've ever seen with the least muscle. Very shaved head, a couple of tattoos, but these people all look quite hungry, quite sad, and quite dejected.
I feel bad.
Phyllis, I'm going to assume there isn't a huge amount to eat around here.
Well, no, we weren't going to eat the bodies.
No, I wouldn't recommend that. They're probably not particularly well preserved. Pod begins to reach into his pack and bring out like rations and stuff that he has, and just like start distributing them out to the different guys.
They kind of
Got
like
some
grab it
jerky
almost
here, if
ravenously,
any of you
saying,
want it.
"Thank you, thank you."
This is some
thank you."
bread. I don't know where I got it from, but it's
They kinda,
definitely
like,
still
take
good,
it.
if not a little hard.
Take it and sniff it, almost like they're not used to it, and the minute it smells good, they just immediately eat it.
Look, gentlemen, really, there is a lich down here. You probably don't want to stick around. You're quite lucky to not have run into them as of yet, or the skeleton.
Yeah, the woman, the half elf, kind of turns to you and just, what does it look like? We might have seen something.
Oh, well, floating, hooded, I believe followed by a gaggle of hooded compatriots. Jewels in the flesh.
Kind of like nudges Roderick. Remember those? This, and kind of points at the tunnel. It didn't used to be here. It appeared yesterday, and we came in. Oh, sorry, it appeared a few days ago. And there were sounds like clattering, and I got a quick peek, but the hooded figures, like you say, a couple of them.
What were they doing?
should
What was that, Mercy?
They walked past where I was hiding, and several hours later I heard something and just glimpsed them turning around a corner as they left, and then this tunnel was here.
You should not have followed them in. This is not your safe haven. So many of your futures now lie in death. You should leave.
But we didn't do anything wrong. We didn't take anything.
DM,
You should take your lives and go.
is it? Does this seem like the end of the line for the
Yeah.
temple?
It does.
So it's okay. So putting two and two together, it seems like Greg and the skeleton crew have come in here, got to this room, looted the shit out of it, taken the artifacts that are meant to be in here, and then fucked off through a tunnel.
You don't know if they've taken the artifacts. You haven't looked for them.
Oh, true. Okay, but they've taken shit from it.
Uh,
At least
the
bodies.
Just-
missing.
Yeah,
bodies,
the
yeah.
skeletons, but the items might. Okay, all right. Then
But
he'll.
for context, in terms of where I am at, I haven't entered the room. I'm still hidden since I've been hidden. Did move
Okay.
the boards. I'm outside the room in the hallway, listening in, like by the door.
Yeah. Arvis hears all of this then. And currently, it seems to the others that it's Quan, it's Doran, it's Pod, it's Casimir, it's Mercy, but Arvis is hidden.
Were they carrying anything when they left?
No, but there were more of them. I heard more footsteps, but they sounded strange.
Skeleton crew. Well then, given the coins and the lot are still here, perhaps. Shall we look? Darren, would you mind looking for the artifacts?
Certainly, and there is a bit of an indent and a trail down, and at the bottom there is a large, ornate, jeweled chest that, as Doran goes down, seems to instinctively know it's there. Opens it up. Inside, there are 4 out of the 5 artifacts.
4
the
out of
sword
5.
is missing.
Do we consider that this is like most of the job done, or do we really need all 5 of them?
I think. I imagine it's all 5 they want.
That's a big shame.
Well, part of me wonders if we take these 4 back and return to follow through the tunnel.
I think at least bringing back 4 is going to be helpful, and I'm sure they'll be very pleased about that. And then we can always go and find the other one.
Aaron, quick question. Are you and your friends fans of the circus?
The circus, an amusement for the small folk.
He's gonna put out the flyer that we found when we entered this tomb. None of you were excited about this, carrying the flyer around? Might have dropped it on the way in.
We're here on sacred pilgrimage. Attending the circus would be, frankly, sacrilegious. We're not here to have fun. We're here to remember the sacrifice we made and the good that came from it.
Is it common for there to be circuses in Alarafa?
I don't know. I'm not from here.
Hmm.
At this point, Roderick jumps up and says, it's fairly famous.
Ah, yes, of course,
Is there-
locals. If the
Is there a
paladin...
route?
No, continue.
Is there a route to the circus through the sewers?
Sorry, is there a route to the circus? I mean, it's just a tent they put up. It's wherever it needs to be. The circus isn't... It's not like one location. They throw it in different places each year.
And can you get to the current location of the tent?
Probably? I'm unsure.
I would have
It
thought...
comes up all around the city. It's the sewers. It's everywhere. It's connected to every shitter there is.
That is a good point.
I think this is more
it
just
connected?
the ideal escape route, you know? We may be running
You've
a fool's
connected.
errand.
What's the name of the temple that I have been haunting and spilled all my spaghetti/coin all over?
Oh my god.
Wasn't it the place you've been going? It's just a
It's like Temple of
temple, right?
Celeborn.
Yeah.
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 Didn't we give them
You like-
big money to fix my modify memory problem, but we haven't cashed in on that yet?
Yeah. So
No, I
he
think you
goes.
have fixed it, right? You talked about Bane earlier, so I think you have fixed it.
Oh, do we just assume that money went towards fixing it and it's...
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it might have done. Yeah, he walks up to the what was the first one that we talked to, the not so bright one,
Roderick.
Roderick. And he kind of like puts another piece of food in his hand and like holds his hand and covers it, and he goes, "There's a temple if you go and he kind of turns the food direction. I think it's that direction, Temple of Kellenvor. If you want food and board, that's a much better place than here."
Oh, no, look, we appreciate the warning, and well, it's good to know there's food there, but we're fine. We don't mix with them. And he points upwards. But we'll definitely
Them.
check it out. Thank you.
What do you mean by them? Out of interest. Sorry, I'm not from here.
Oh, just priests. Kind of mutters it a little bit.
Yes. Yeah, fair enough. They can be quite difficult sometimes. I understand.
And quite judgmental. We're
Gentlemen,
talking about paying taxes, tithes. It's too much. Can't afford it.
Worship should be free. That is true. I agree.
Gentlemen, I understand we've rather skipped in our thinking and we have come to the conclusion that the lich is from the circus. I suppose I was more nascent in my thoughts, and quite clearly the paladins did not bring this flyer down. Somebody else brought the flyer down. It probably was the skeleton crew what did leave it. I mean, just because the circus is headed by a man called Greg Skellington, it doesn't necessarily mean he or any of his compatriots are a lich. Just want, let's not assume, let's not leap ahead, but I do think we should investigate the circus.
If you were to be a lich and have a name, Greg Skellington would be a pretty good name for a lich, though.
I don't think I would call myself Greg Skellington were I a lich. It's a bit on the nose.
But if you were born,
To be clear, it's Gregarious Skellington on the flyer.
if you were born
wanted to be
Gregarious
clear.
Skellington, you almost feel destined to become a lich. Like,
I feel in Alaratha, where people look at me sideways for my fun silver vertebrae and skeleton hands, if I were actually a lich that would be destroyed on sight by the Archon, I would probably not call myself Gregarious Skellington. Unless I had balls the size of fucking Dominus. Which maybe he does.
That's a really good point, actually.
You see, by the way, one of them, the one who hasn't spoken yet, the half-orc, kind of nudge Lillian and almost seems to like saying, Lillian turns around, her name's Lillian, and turns around and turns around, shut up.
Contribution for the class.
You know something, speak.
Nope.
Answer the lich.
Folds her arms. Not a lich. She doesn't seem super confident in that statement.
I'm gonna use Hour of Reaping on her.
Oh my god.
Right.
Every
Sorry,
creature
you're
within
gonna
30
what?
What's
feet.
that, bro?
Every creature within 30 feet must make a Wisdom saving throw.
Oh my god.
What?
What
Every-
happened?
Does that include us?
Us as well?
Yeah, unfortunately, it does.
How,
Yeah,
Uh,
I'll go
I rolled
reap.
4d20.
I will project a vision of their
Oh,
respective
Jesus.
deaths onto them. The DC
What's
is
the
14.
save? For
Okay.
fuck's sake, somehow I fail.
DC is they all fail.
I failed.
Okay.
Okay, so you
Those
will
of
see
you-
your deaths.
Casimir.
Tell me, dear.
That's fine. No, I'll do it. You can all see your death. So Arvis, do you fail or you succeed? Are you
Am
within
I
range?
within 30 feet? Being down the
No,
tunnel?
you're not. If you're not at the door, no, you're not. Quan?
I think I said she had to AFK for a little bit, but
That's fine.
Oh,
tell us
actually,
and then type
sorry,
her a juicy
One
death.
second. Anyone who I can't see, I guess so would be out of my cone of vision. would be
I
exempt.
feel like you can
Yeah.
see though is like just
Yeah,
in,
yeah,
not
it's like
behind
in your
total
field of
cover.
vision. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So Pod, did you roll?
Yeah, I failed
Failed.
somehow.
Oh my
Despite plus 8.
God.
Yeah, I mean, so I rolled for Quan. Quan failed too. So as I come up with good scenarios for this, let's maybe take a quick break, given that we've been playing, and everybody except for Arvis is going to experience their death, and maybe Sai will be back to actually roll.
This is so
And I will
juicy.
see you all in a couple of minutes. Let's get back at 10 past.
Yeah, I'll set for 10 past. Yeah.
Right. See you guys in a bit.
Sounds
All
good.
right.
Bye.
Peace.
Hello. Curse you, Bale. No one else plays the DLC, so that's fine. Hello everybody, welcome back. You guys have made your way through. You have gone through the test of honor, whatever it may be. You have not attempted to snatch any of the incredibly valuable items in the previous room, and you have found that whatever passed through here, however they came here, they have made an exit or an entrance via the sewers. As such, some vagrants, sewer people, dwellers, have made their home here. You have confronted them. They have relented and clearly realized they are slightly outmatched, but nonetheless, you may have something to learn from them. In attempting to get information from them, Mercy has stepped forward and cast Hour of Reaping, inducing all of you to see visions of your death. Everybody, except for Quan, has failed.
Point of order. Myself.
Yes. Arvis has not been targeted. He's not been in range. Quan, there's this mist that permeates round, and through it, even though you resist, you see a 5-headed dragon off in the distance that immediately goes from your mind.
Hang on a
Casimir.
second. I passed that check.
You did. You don't see your death, but the mist attempts to overtake you, and that's what you do see. Casimir.
I'm so ready for this juice. Tell me.
Mm.
Tell me. How do I die? Tell
You
me.
don't recognize this place,
Ooh.
but you're underground. There are 12 doors around you. You perhaps recognize it as the vaults from your reading deep beneath Fasala. And you are falling down into the central part. You don't know who pushed you. You don't know why. But you begin to see something, energy, rushing up to meet you.
Oh shit. Yeah.
Pod, are you here? There is no Eski. We will deal with Pod in a second. But nonetheless, all 4 of the NPCs just freeze and see visions. Kind of they can hold each other like, no, please. Not the axe. I'm so cold, so hungry. And they are all terrified. They all see the visions of their own death. Yeah. Mercy, what do
Okay.
you ask?
Well, I guess 6 seconds goes by, and then of silence, and then just repeats the phrase and says, "Speak. What do you know?"
We've been hiding more recently. There's things prowling the sewers. That's why we hid here. We needed to get away, and we've been hearing those strange footfalls more and more. The clattering of bones. It's not an uncommon sound in the sewers now.
Mercy just kind of looks over to Casimir and kind of gestures, continue or carry on, or just
Odd. Your death. What you see. You are on the ground, looking up. You look up at the sky, the forest of Thuggaloom, and you see a boot, a perfectly tailored, jeweled, perfectly tailored set of trousers, jeweled boot crashing down towards your face, and you see the smug smile on Karin's face.
All the things to die
And
for.
your brother
This is-
whispers, "I told you, you should have dealt with this."
He has to
Anyway,
brace himself.
Casimir.
He's staring off into middle distance. And maybe like his hand has come up to his chest as though it suddenly feels tight and clenched, and he just looks around to Mercy and says, what was that? I just had the strangest feeling. Do we know that Mercy can do that?
No. Mercy hasn't done it before, right?
Yeah. Mercy did it against the two of
I don't think the party had to roll on it.
the assassins. Yeah, they did. They both succeeded.
Oh,
The
okay,
two
yeah.
assassins who ambushed us, Casimir and Pod, succeeded, so they saw nothing. But
Yeah.
Maybe
I
like
guess
his trauma-addled mind is kind of. Hang on, did you? We'll talk about this later. Skeletons in the sewer. Skeletons in the sewer. Good. Well, we have artifacts. We should probably return them to the paladins and obtain license to chase after the fifth. We have somewhere to start looking. We let's wait for the circus. Or go sewer hopping or something.
You're perhaps faced with a choice. You return to the ecclesiarchy with what you have, the information you have, and impart it to them, or you continue into the sewers to attempt to track and fully find out what has happened here. It is up to you, Boyband.
Might I suggest, perhaps I will send Darren back up to both bring word of what has happened and the 4 remaining artifacts. Part of our mission was to locate the missing paladins, and I believe, Darren, you could give a first-hand account, or perhaps quite traumatizingly collapsing on the floor. So long as I'm within a mile, which I believe will be. We didn't come that far below, right? If
No,
we're in
not
the
that far.
sewers. So long as we're in a mile, you'll be fine.
Your intentions perhaps noble. I caution against sending myself in my state above. It
You
will not be
really-
interpreted well that you have summoned me.
Oh, how tedious. Maybe if I send you with a note saying my name is Darren, I consented to necromancy. It was all very above board and friendly. Please don't shoot me. If you've shot me, then here's some artifacts.
It is a mile, correct?
A mile. You could knock on the door, and we could leave a note on the crate, and then you could return to me.
Whatever you wish.
I don't know, friends, do you want to continue down the tunnel? We might find something. It might be worth seeing if they left anything to trace them by. I imagine they've absconded into the sewers long since, but perhaps there'll be something.
I would favour returning, accompanying Darren, just as a means of banking the favour that we have gained with the Countess. Wait, no, the Canoness
Canon.
and the General.
Mordecai
Currently,
Fair.
on the possibility that the tracking and finding of this 5th artifact and the finding of the robbed figure does not go well for us. or takes us on an alternative path where returning to this place will not be as easy.
Does it feel like we could fairly easily just return to whence we came and then come back again? It's not like a massive dungeon.
It's not a massive dungeon. It's more the nature and purpose of a visit here. These are the sacred dungeons of Tyr. You would definitely need to grant permission to come down here again. The fact that you've come here to help and you would be returning and you'd be looking for the artifact, you could probably reason it, but you won't be allowed to freely walk through the ziggurat and get here again. You would need permission from the ecclesiarchy. Whether or not you think you could get it is up to you.
It wouldn't seem unreasonable to me to take a quick breather, show face, explain what we've seen, as you say, bank our 4 out of 5 and then return down.
Indeed. I fear that returning or venturing forth with 4 of the 5 in hand, or potentially leaving, would either be misconstrued as us abandoning our task, or at worst trying to steal sacred icons of their nation. Clarifying that we can explain that we are volunteering freely to retrieve the 5th, having discovered a nefarious plot to steal
Not
items.
a good look, is it? Of course, something does occur to me, gentlemen. He's gonna maybe shuffle away from the sewer people, and speak quietly to the party. We are, of course, retrieving the ecclesiarchy's tools of war. Do we want to give them back? We could always... all been stolen. Juan, this is your trial. I just remember who we're working for here and what they intend to do with them.
That said, they do have that kind of aura of truth-telling around them that might become a little bit problematic when it comes to deceiving them.
Good point. Yeah, do we think there's, like, any significance towards all 5 being needed from, like, histories, and is it, like, by... They form Voltron with the 5, or are they just
No,
all...
with your,
are they all
with your
sick
knowledge,
individually?
No, with your knowledge, it's not like they equip a single champion with them all. These are just powerful relics of war that are generally given out to 5 various members. You haven't been asked to form Voltron. You've been chosen to go get 5 relics that they're probably going to give to 5 different people.
I'll form the head.
Ultron. I think. Where's Harvest? We need him. He should have a say in this decision.
Is Luke frozen?
No, he's
No,
just
Luke's not.
incredibly
Okay.
still.
Just muted.
Yeah, he's just statue-esking.
Oh, no.
Harvest.
Dude!
I can't tell.
It's really impressive.
That was quite. Wow.
That's
Who
not real. It is frozen, 100%.
I guess I hear nothing.
Harvest is stealthing IRL.
What was the question? Sorry.
Just asked you to come and join the circle, dude.
Oh, I heard that. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, you asked me actively, right?
Harvest.
You don't hear anything.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Are you shouting? Are you whispering? Are you yelling? What's the way you say it?
It's like a stage whisper.
And you hear a message in your rear, again, tinny and magnetic, as if some kind of mobile phone had a severe technical issue crackle into your ear.
Mate, don't be such a rat and don't rat me out. What is it you want, mate?
We have things we need to discuss. A decision to be made, an important one.
Well, if I'm honest, I'm waiting to rob these blokes blind the minute they walk past. Can't you ask me now, over the wire?
What do you think we should do about returning the items of war to the ecclesiarchy? We have a choice to be made about sides, I think. Even doing nothing now, we're picking on.
Well, mate, look here. We got a couple of options. We could, of course, keep everything. It's not too bad an idea, if you ask me. The other option we have, of course, is to curry favour. Go deeper with them, where the prize is larger.
But what do you want to do? What is your opinion of what we should do?
Well, I'd say let's fucking work out, mate, what these artifacts do. I'd say if we quite like them, if we need them, then we might consider holding on to them. If they are of middling use to us, then perhaps we trade up.
Arvis and Mercy kind of whispers to Hod, Casimir, and Quan. Says his view of this, whether we should return the 5 relics of war, is to see whether they are of value to us. If so, he believes we should keep them, and I assume thereby accept our severed connections with the ecclesiarchy, or we should deliver them unto them, curry their favour.
Undoubtedly, they're of immense value. I mean, probably holding 4 out of 5 would turn Quan back into one of the most powerful entities on the fucking continent. But I think the question is, do you want that, Quan? This is your trial of faith.
You can't be seriously asking me if I want to steal Tyr's relics.
You're not stealing from Tyr, you're his champion and you'd be using his objects. Not stealing, it's still kept within the faith.
Tyr has not given these items to me. We are here to return them with what they... Well, their plan with the relics, that's not our decision. But we've made a promise, and we can't steal these.
We do this in the full knowledge we're arming the ecclesiarchy with tools for war, but I suppose no one has to begin with.
Do we know, like, exactly what they're gonna do with them? Did we figure out what their plan is?
You
Like,
figured out these are tools for war. You know that their plan is to invade Dominus, to go to fight against the Sovereign Arbiter. You don't know their motivation for that, but you know that she was suspicious that the ecclesiarchy were marching to war, and it is against her.
We kind of know the motivation insofar as we know Sacramar's High Praetor has set them up to it, right? And that it's a bit of a like...
Well, certainly that they, not motivation, but they have, the High Praetor seems to be playing both sides.
Man's just trying to start a war and rule over the ashes, I think.
Yeah. But like, I think, you know, and I think the character, we would all know this, but like, we've reached the point of, we now have both quests kind of fulfilled. It's like, which one do we redeem? We've got the information and the letters. We could return to Lysandra, whatever her name is.
High Arbiter and Lysander
Valtorin, and we also now have the both what happened to the like pilgrims and also the like artifacts. So it's like, which one do we do?
I think there's like high key another play where like we could probably tell the ecclesiarchy that Sacramar set them up and that we know Sacramar is also besties with the Sovereign Arbiter. We could also tell, because he's roped in the Flameblade Syndicate, right? Who'll be led by Fazul's brother. So we could also tell him, who's kind of our buddy, So we have like a few things we could do. We could tell quite a few people who are quite high up what's going on. I think it's just like, I don't know if we in character would trust any of them more than the other, or would have any reason to think would be doing something good by doing any of it, if you know what I mean. It's quite hard to judge like who the right ally or the right person to tell would be, because it sounds so far like everyone's just a fucking warmongering crazy at this point. So
I guess I was just thinking, like, we are arming one of the sides, like right now, and I suppose it's not we don't have to 100% throw in, but if we don't agree with the ecclesiarchy, we definitely should steal these and run away, basically.
You know, I would like to step to the side, and I would like to ask Tyr and pray to
Nice.
my god.
Are you casting a specific spell, or are you
No,
praying?
I don't think I have one at this level. Let me check.
Okay.
Could be wrong. Yeah, I can't directly speed dial Tyr, but I can
I will make.
put my
So
hands together and ask for guidance
I
when it comes
will.
to these relics.
Let's apply. So it's not going to be quite the same effect if you succeed. We'll go by cleric divine intervention rules. If you roll a d100 for me, and you need to roll under your level.
Okay, under my level, D100. 71.
Roll a religion
Oof.
check.
Okay. 6. Oof.
You're new to this faith. You're new to this world. The political nuances, unfortunately, are unsure, and in this moment, Tyr is unsure. As are you.
It's such a big...
Really hope Tyr's not unsure.
I mean,
Shed a
like,
tear for
honestly,
Tyr.
if my fucking god doesn't even know, like, what use can I bring to this party, I might as well just, like, go AFK.
Shit, dude.
Look,
Tyr's unsure.
Tyr says genocide. No, I'm kidding.
to be perfectly...
That would be more helpful than what the fuck he just gave you now, so...
You rolled a 71, needing to roll under a 7 and a 6.
He's my god, dude. Like, I'm a child of his. He should at least say hello. He hasn't once said anything since I've, been a good boy. Anyway, carry on. I have nothing to add to this conversation.
You struggle to find Tyr's light amongst all the other relics and information here.
To be perfectly honest, gentlemen, I'm of the opinion that by accepting this, we set ourselves up for the single course of action, which is returning the artifacts to the ecclesiarchy. I believe if we left here without them, or tried to secret them away, we would absolutely be hunted down in a way that I don't think we could handle. If we leave them here, the way is cleared, they'll pick up their weapons regardless. I think we just have to hope that, should we choose to stand against the ecclesiarchy, we have a route of doing so by, as Arvis put it, currying their favour, disrupting them from within. And who knows, perhaps they'll prove themselves to be stalwart allies.
I will perhaps, those of you with a history understanding intimately Mercy of Lukai would perhaps understand that the last time the ecclesiarchy went to war was to attempt to stop, or as a result of someone ascending to godhood. Whether or not that's the same motivation this time, it is naturally where perhaps your brain would go, and whatever else that leads you to be at. Certainly the idea that could be happening again, and Lilith's resurgence, it's many factors are in there. Whether or not the ecclesiarchy is a force for good, you would all actually perhaps look back to their prevention or attempted prevention of Lilith and think about what Lilith has done or attempted to do with the Stormlands and Razor. I wouldn't say they're your natural enemies at this point.
But we do remember that when they went to war against Lilith, they like razed and burned and decimated a country and committed a horrible war, such that it's called the War of Shame, right? So we know
It's
they'll
as
have
much
gone to
war of
war
yeah,
for a serious reason, but they're gonna be really fucking bad about it.
I
potentially.
mean, lawful good, not lawful nice, right?
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Jamie, Mercy shared that with the group, like on one of the downtime nights in the tavern as well. Just like they've only gone to war like 3 times. One of them was Abaddon. One of them was the Lilith. They generally only do this for like serious threats, but like they're not good people. They're not. They committed.
There are good reasons,
war
not
crimes.
necessarily good actions.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I would have explained that.
I think, boys, what I'm trying to say is if we 5 of us decide that we stand against this war and are going to take it upon ourselves to stop it, there is a probably more effective way to do that than denying the ecclesiarchy 4 of their fun sacred artifacts. That's when we talk to the sovereign arbiter.
Would it be helpful, perhaps, if you knew what these artifacts did, and maybe it's deciding whether or not these are war-changing artifacts?
Yeah, I
You
think
could cast detect magic on them.
maybe, but I think it's just the like concept of we're giving them artifacts back. I don't think this is a nuke that will insta destroy Dominus. I think this is probably just some sick weapons and shit.
Yeah, and I like obviously I'm trying to help you make the decision. I would say that if you cast detect magic on these objects, these are powerful relics and items, but they are not going to end or finish a war.
Yeah, so I think
Just by their
I think what Casimir is saying is pretty much like we probably have a more effective way of influencing the war than putting ourselves at risk by running off with these into the dead of night. And it's probably, we're kind of in this one now. I don't think there's much we can do about this.
What I would say is, we have 4 of the 5. What if we return 3 of the 5?
Harvest is not there to make this comment.
Yeah.
Quan is not there to hear
However,
it.
Luke is before you on a screen, eating a bowl of delicious food, imbibing.
There's a reasonable chance that we meet Greg Skellington and we're like, mate, give us the sword back. And he's like, nah, I'll tell you why. And we're like, okay, buddy, sure. And then we don't return the 5th to the ecclesiarchy, Like, I think there's a reason.
We need to,
yeah.
like, hold hostage their extra one.
Yeah. So it sounds as though we're in quorum. We do find ourselves in a position where we must return the ecclesiarchy's shiny things to them. I think it just puts us at risk if we don't, in a way that I don't particularly want to deal with.
I believe certainly taking them, as Casimir has said, immediately forces our hand. We will be hunted for the retrieval of these artifacts. Something I agree we're probably not prepared to do. Any time we hope to spend more in Al-Rafa, contacting or learning about blood magic will be disrupted. Our actions will be forced in a way they were previously not. I think if at least delivering these weapons is, if we find out some new piece of information which would cause us to question the ecclesiarchy's motivations for this war, then perhaps we can undo the damage caused by delivering these. But at this point, between the words of the sovereign arbiter, whose, well, frankly, motivations I do not trust.
Oh, she's a cunt,
given her, I would be reticent to take that course of action. Pod, you've been very quiet. Do you have any views on this?
I don't think we should be stealing again.
Okay.
Thank you. He seems genuinely quite like shaken. Like not shaken, but like he's like you got a bunch of kids scheming as what to do with their, misbegotten goods, and he's the one that's just like, what if the parents show up? What if they find out? Guys, I think we should talk to the teacher. That energy.
Then let's go to the teacher and make sure we retain passage back down here such that we can follow the Skellington crew. Not that I'm making assumptions about Greg Skellington. He may or may not be a lich. He may or may not have stolen a sword, in fact. He may or may not be anyone related, and the flyer could have been a complete coincidence.
Who's got the highest passive perception? Okay. I would like you to roll perception.
Be actually as
22?
to
What's
catch
your
something.
passive perception?
You right. You rolled
22.
22 on passive
Oh
perception.
yeah. Let me.
Or did you roll 22?
Oh, no, sorry. I can roll.
Yeah. Roll
sure that's
after your
good.
passive. Your perception gives you this, basically. I know it's probably not ideal.
10.
10. I'm saying 10 as if it's more impressive all of a sudden.
Fucking 10 when your passive perception's 22 now, mate.
I got a natural 3. Come on.
Come on. You come on.
It's one of the numbers on the dice. What do you want me to do?
Do better!
I'm sorry.
My perception roll was 20.
Has anybody
Not
got
nat
any
20, more than
magic
that.
still running?
I cast Detect Magic in the previous room. I don't know.
Or any magic
10
or detect
minutes.
magic.
Yeah, any kind of detect magic or
Well, it must have been one of those two who
Wait.
detect magic the artifacts that you told us.
Yeah,
I mean,
if-
I have guidance rolling, but that's it.
If we Detect Magic the swords, the artifacts, then yeah, maybe.
Liliana has magic on her. I will say that you perhaps noticed that all of a sudden.
Who's Liliana?
One of
One
the
of
four.
the
Has magic on her. What, like
One of
residue,
the
or
what?
like is emanating?
One of the 4 sewer people.
Do you know?
Is she the half orc or the half elf?
Necromantic magic. The half elf.
Do you know? I feel we got a little bit distracted, everyone. Liliana, did you answer the lich?
Answer the lich what?
He asked you a question, didn't he?
Yes, I told him that we've been seeing more and more in the sewers recently, and the skeleton footsteps aren't uncommon. Strange things have been prowling.
It's only that you seem awfully... How do I put this? Like you fit in with the very noises you've been hearing. It's only...
What do I get the impression Casimir is implying here?
Casimir, what impression are you giving?
He's kind of giving the impression of, like, I'm playing a bit dumb to see what her reaction is and trying to, like, goad a reaction out of her. How do you know these companions of yours?
Same way I know as anyone. Convenience.
When did you meet?
Survival. Several months ago.
And you've been together all that time?
Not every day of every night. What are you implying?
Just that you have a shit ton of necromantic magic on you, and I'm just querying if you're, alive or not.
But looks around. I feel alive.
Insight
Yeah, go for it.
Lich? Question mark?
16.
If she's, like, not seeming hostile or reacting, he'll maybe, like, walk around in a circle. Is there, like, a source of it? Or is it...
It's her, but make a perception check on her.
Perception roll.
If I once Casimir has openly said that, I would probably use divine sense
Yes.
to confirm that.
There is a single. That's not true. There are 2 undead sources.
60 feet.
Yeah. 1, Liliana. Secondly, in the tunnel.
Also, Darren. Hello, there's 3.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Right,
my
yeah.
bad. Absolutely.
Can we?
Darren.
My zombies they exist.
Okay. Darren
I mean, what
is
about
He's-
Casimir
valid.
altogether?
He exists. Casimir's also dead. No kidding.
He's not. He's hale and hearty.
Yeah, there are 3 undead sources. One you kind of suspected looking at Lillian. The one that probably alarms you most, obviously Lillian confirms. The one in the tunnel.
When you say tunnel, is that in front of us?
That's the one leading to the sewers.
Oh, okay.
And then Darren, obviously.
I rolled a 14 on the perception on Liliana.
Could I also do a perception check on Liliana? But I've got Eyes of
Yes.
the Dead, Eyes of the Grave active. I don't know if that can give
What does
me
Eyes of the
some
Grave
kind
do
of.
again, remind me?
I see. It's basically just like detect undead. I
Yeah, no,
think.
absolutely. Liliana is. So I'd say between all 3 of you, Casimir, you don't notice too much is off, but clearly there's a bit of like actually Eyes of it sunken.
I got 23 on my roll.
23. Casimir, you look at it and you're like, this is a very recently risen, or someone who has died and then been reborn.
She has a personality and
quickly.
shit.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
He looks
And
quite
and,
baffled
sorry,
by that.
Eski, you look at it and you're like, you look at her, you look around. There's like a slight tinge to her eyes. They're a bit more grey than anything should be. The iris, sorry, the iris is clearly there, but obviously the bit behind is going. There's a faint smell of rotting. Like everything kind of clicks for you for a second. Liliana is not alive.
Liliana, I don't mean to alarm you, but I think you may be dead.
Roger's and
Give me a second.
As he
already
says that with
said
his
he's a
eyes
lich.
glowing spectral green. No, I am almost certain that you are actually dead. Do you remember how you may have died? And not died? Undied?
She's like flummoxed by the question because she didn't consider herself dead.
I'm more curious about the nature of your reanimation. I'm not going to do anything that'll harm you, but he's going to gently touch her shoulder. Can I use my vitality shift feature? When I shift HP between myself and my risen animated special necromancy boy, like in the written feature, the HP is doubled. So maybe like to him, if it was a style of necromancy that he practiced, would it feel like a different kind of flow of vitality? I'm not trying to move HP around, just like, would he have a sense for the nature of her reanimation based on just knowing how vitality flows between himself and his guy?
This I will give you this information, which is that this person is still there. They're just slightly more detached from their body. Like you don't actually find something to connect to. You could almost feel it as if like rather than being returned, they haven't fully separated from their body. So somebody hasn't animated this. Someone has killed her, but for whatever reason, it hasn't fully gone. It hasn't like the death hasn't fully gone through. If that makes sense. You perhaps realize it's not that she should be dead.
You've sort of been loosely stitched together, if I can put it that way. You should have passed on, but haven't. It's not like what I do. You've not been recalled. You've just not quite fully died yet.
Roderick at this point said, hold up, this is quite unfair. Liliana is clearly here in front of us. I'd advise you to forget how powerful you are. You're being quite rude.
No, look at the grey in her irises. And then he just starts pointing out really quite insensitively, like, just, and actually if you put your finger on her pulse, no, very slow. Nails,
no
look
pulse.
at this.
Just going back to before Jimmy, did I get a sense of a powerful undead?
Not a powerful one, but
Like
an
in
undead
the
presence.
tunnel?
yeah, an undead presence in the tunnel.
Okay. As Casimir is like rudely pointing out all of Lilian, Liliana's Liliana, Lilian, Lilith,
Liliana Voss.
Liliana's ugly points. Quan is gonna grab Casimir's arm and pull him away and whisper in his ear, and there's another one that way. And he points towards the tunnel.
Ooh. Powerful? Can you tell?
Not that I
Yeah,
can
what do I see
feel.
from this thing as well?
Sorry?
Like, I've also got Eyes of the Great. I'm asking Jamie, like,
Let me check Eyes of
what
the
do I
Grave.
sense?
Yep.
I
So
just sense the undead. It's the
Sai,
same
like,
thing.
sorry, Quan perhaps point it out, and as you turn around, looking through there, you're able to occasionally sense the presence of an undead. Yeah,
He's
there is a location about halfway through the tunnel. There
he's
seems to be an outline of something.
he's gonna whisper to Quan, let's see if it's listening and let's see if it's smart. And quite loudly he's gonna say, I've actually changed my mind, gentlemen. Why don't we go down the tunnel right now? I think chasing after the Lich sounds like exactly what I want from what day of the week it? Whatever. Harmon's Day evening. Are you with me? And then he's gonna maybe like quietly turn to Quan and say, Is it going anywhere?
Is it moving, DM?
No, to both you and Pod, it's not moving. No. Look, Roger said, you can't just make accusations like that and run off. What are you doing? What is wrong with you?
Well, just revealing truths, saving you from liches, all in a day's work, really. I'm not really sure what you should do about this, to be honest. You are in the City of the Dead, where the undead are an abomination, so I probably wouldn't go up on the surface and find any priests about this. I imagine you could just sort of live out your undead... Where have you been in the last while? Do you have any lapses in your memory? Maybe we could investigate.
No, I mean, we, she kind of takes a second and thinks about it. I fell asleep on watch one night. I have not entirely memory. Do you remember everywhere you've been in the past 4 days?
Oh, in excruciating detail. I remember absolutely everything I see. The last month I could tell you in perfect clarity. It's 11:37 right now. I could point to where the sun is. He just seems so
Right.
smug when he says it.
Are you all walking towards the other entity?
Question though,
No.
which way's north?
Okay, what? So
Casimir's going. Yeah.
it's just Casimir going towards that
Well,
entity.
he's like, he kind of called out to see if it did anything, but if it's not moving, that sort of implies it's not really listening and if it's not reacting, I don't know. Yeah, I think he's curious. I think he'll kind of continue walking, and as he's kind of heading off, he'll just be saying to Liliana, maybe we could talk later about this. The necromancer's probably done this to you for some purpose unknown. I'm not quite sure why. I'm not sure I'd bother with random folk in the sewers, but there we go.
Mercy puts her hand on Casimir's shoulder and just says quietly, I don't think they did it on purpose.
What makes you say that?
What did you... I saw what happened to her.
Oh. Care to elaborate?
She was
Quan
swatted.
just pokes his head in between the two whispering faces and says, well, who did it?
I didn't see. She didn't see.
Did you see where
The
it
fir-
happened?
It looked like the sewers. Jamie, correct me?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
Can
A spell
a spell?
killed her. But she wasn't the target. She was just murdered. Because she was there.
Could you tell what the target was?
fate of another.
Right.
A chance not taken, as you can imagine. A decision, a step, a place, a finger. Each of these things moves the fates of everyone around them in subtle ways. She died on 5 days hence, whatever the day is, the 22nd, and someone lived who might have died. This is the way of the weave.
Could you re-find that place if you saw it? Would you recognize it? I don't know if we can use that information to help us find the perpetrators.
Possibly, but I don't have your mind, Casimir, and these visions are difficult to hold on to.
I think perhaps given we know there's a nasty down the tunnel, we might as well go say hello.
Yes, what do you mean? You looked and you called out. What did you see down the tunnel?
Oh, and what did you see down the tunnel?
Some kind of a lich? No, I don't know.
Is it
Undead,
Pod's
I
head
don't know.
poking?
Sorry,
This is like Pod's head poking
I heard
into the
pod.
whisper.
I'm so sorry.
No.
I
This is
retcon.
this is
You know what? You always fucking talk for me, Eski. Like, someone asks a vaguely religious or undead question, and you're like, yep, that must be addressed to me.
I thought I heard pod, and yes, it is
That's
on
pod
brand.
splaining, actually. We
Oh,
can't.
I am pod.
No, this is so funny. It's like Mercy and Casimir, and then like Quan's head pops between them, and then Pod's head pops between them.
Pod also pops around. I don't know. I didn't really see it.
I was asking Quan, but thank you, Pod.
Oh, sorry.
Why, everyone? Okay, this is a strange huddle.
I like this.
Quan, what did you see?
well,
And why are we all...
technically didn't see anything. I just sensed that there was an undead creature down the tunnel. I didn't get a real sense as to how powerful it was, but I imagine I would know if it was a lich.
Maybe it's
And
friendly.
that's what... And Casimir, you thought the best course of action was to charge straight towards it.
I just thought I'd see if it moved or reacted, which it hasn't. So it's
No
either
reaction.
not listening or it doesn't care.
In before isolation, I just baited everyone.
Well, we're
What's
here
the
now.
what's the R is a lich?
I think it's 23.
Yeah, I feel like I would probably get some sort of like horrendous fear feeling that, but
It doesn't seem to be a lich. There is, looking down the tunnel, there's vague lighting. You guys don't actually see anything. You're kind of almost like, some of you, the less subtle of you, are peering into this darkness, trying to see the outline of some creature. There's a sense of an entity from those of you who are still continuing to sense it, but there is no figure, there is no outline, there is no skeleton standing there, there is no ironclad warrior or floating lich.
Liliana, my new zombie friend, I would love to study you. Could
Casimir.
No, this is important. Could I entrust you with looking after the priceless artifacts for the Ecclesiarchy while we go lich hunting? And we'll be right back. And I can sort you out. I'm a necromancer for clarity, so maybe I can fix you, or maybe we can make your life a little better.
She can falter arms. I'm feeling I have a love. I still want to eat. I still want to drink. I still have feelings.
Well, let's sort.
I'm alive in every sense of the word.
Yes, dear. That's all very fascinating, and if that's true, I would love to know more about that. So let's talk about that later, and maybe we'll both learn something. Please look after the box.
You've been kind. You've given us food, so fine, but not just that.
What's
Roderick
that?
kind of stands up and says, "Well, Thunder, we're not dishonorable. We just wanted somewhere safe."
Which is why you are still standing. Good. Let's go find the lich. And he'll just sort of like quite merrily turn on his heel and sort of mutter under his breath, I hope it's not too strong, whatever it is. Darren, walk in front.
Darren walks in front. You guys take a couple of steps, others is still missing. A couple of steps, and the kind of sewer air hits you quite on the face. It smells vile. As you
So
approach
you
the
guys,
entity,
just before you guys proceed, Arvis is obviously back at the tunnel. He's been listening in. This is the other tunnel, of course, and people are proceeding now to go down towards into the sewer.
Yes,
Okay,
I think
yeah.
so.
And do I hear or know of the other occupants, the other gang, coming my way, or are they still in there, or going with, or?
I think everybody's going down, and then the group that you've left are kind of huddled together and kind of holding Liliana.
All right then, DM. I would, just kind of sneak into the room, the main room, as I hear people planning the exfiltration.
The artifacts they don't seem so interested. Like, they're a bit confused by the request to defend the artifacts. They've kind of just gone back to themselves and are kind of muttering in hushed tones. They don't seem to think they need to defend the artifacts from anyone. Other.
Yeah, so DM, I would like to, to take some things, basically, just bit this, bit that,
Are you gonna try to steal the artifacts of Tyr?
I had planned to swipe
cool, bro.
anything that they seem to be wearing on them. I just overheard them being given the artifacts of Tyr. I know what the artifacts of Tyr are. So I would probably go for other things that aren't those artifacts, but I know that, yeah, exactly.
Make an
So
investigation check.
Okay, let's do that. Let's do
Look,
that.
man, I'm sick. Can you just give me a break 1 week? I swear to fucking God.
Oh, is that natural one? Is it? I might have to re-roll that little boy.
Using your
Little-
rerolls to fucking steal from Tyr when we're about to go into combat was scary shit.
Oh.
I can't believe it.
Easy class.
Yeah, let's fucking do it. Let's go again. Whoops! I rolled. I rolled something else. I rolled sleight of hand.
I think that
can
roll
be-
might still carry over.
Okay, is it plus 13? Let me see. And it's perception, was it?
No, investigation.
Investigation. Not quite as good. What's the difference there?
You rolled a 1 before, so
it
I
is
can't imagine.
22.
You're just looking for
perception.
treasure and stuff in the other
Investigation.
tombs, whatever they are.
Yeah, or on their person, or on the tombs. Just things that aren't the artifacts that I know what are the artifacts.
Yeah, okay, sure. I'll message you.
Good stuff.
The rest of you, as you approach this entity, I would say Quan, Doran, Pod leading the way. The closer you get, obviously, the more nervous you get, you're more ready for battle, and it's your torches cross the threshold where you think you should see it. There's nothing there. Whatever it is, it's invisible. You make that conclusion quite quickly.
Not spooky.
But like, if we got detect, do we? I mean, it's not behind.
You
total
see
cover,
the
we
fact that there
probably-
is an entity there. There is something there, but you can't see it. I believe that's
I
how
see,
it
I
works. You
see.
sense the
Yeah, yeah,
presence
yeah.
of, you know it's there.
Pod just kind of like points that direction. About 20 meters. It's kind of invisible. I know I sound like I'm talking shit, but I promise I'm quite right.
No,
It's right
I
there.
feel it. Yep, it is. You are correct, Pod.
Should we,
Quan
introduce
is
ourselves?
no. Quan is gonna like draw his sword, and he's gonna kind of like sort of step by step shuffle with his sword out, just like edging close to the creature and see if it does anything happens. If he's like waving his sword out of it like a blind man's stick.
What are you doing, Quan? Can you not see in this tunnel?
I can see. I mean, my sword is glowing, so everyone can see. Like,
Yeah. I mean, if you want to encroach on the creature's space with that sword, we'll do something. But if you're just attempting to create shows, there is no reaction from the creature.
No, I'm trying to like, yeah, I'm trying. My sword is outstretched, and I'm trying to like see if I come into contact with anything where we feel the undead.
You reach forward ever so slightly, and there is a sense that the entity, the creature, you feel yourself tink against something that I'd say your enchanted sword can feel, but if you try to put your hand through it, there's nothing there. There is something here that only your magical weapon seems able to touch. If you want to attempt to thrust or do damage to it, you are welcome. But if you try to put your hand through it, nothing is there, but your sword as a magical object can feel something there.
I don't know what I'm fucking with. I'm not gonna attack it. Well, there's definitely something here.
And
Although when I try to touch it, it's not.
It's just not moving. Hello, little ghosty friend. Would you like to come out? Gonna kind of put his face up to where Quan is. Are we responsive? I'm a friendly necromancer, I promise. We can talk about bones and things.
I will ask Quan and Pod to make a perception check based on the fact that you can see this presence and know where it is, about the rough shape of what this is.
I got 17.
17, Quan?
I got a dirty 20.
Sick.
Quan, you're unsure. Pod, you're unsure, sorry. Quan, it's in the shape of an eye.
Ooh. Okay, what
Ah.
alarm bells is that ringing? What do I know about an invisible eye that is
I mean,
undead?
you could probably put together this is probably relaying information back to somewhere. It's not a threat on its own, perhaps, but an invisible, listless eye hanging in midair. What other purpose would it serve other than to be on watch and report back?
Well, it seems like this is some sort of undead scrying creature.
It's a scrying eye. Fantastic. Hello.
I don't think it can talk back.
No, it can't. I'm just greeting whoever's on the other side. Presumably, it must be our friend the Lich, which is very exciting.
Oh god. Now all of China knows we are here.
There's a sound as you say that. There is a phrase that begins to be repeated, whispers at first, and ever so louder. Come and see. Come and see.
I don't mean to be precocious about this, but do you mean come and see further into the tunnel? Do you mean come to the fun zombie circus? It's actually, I could interpret this a few ways. I'm really sorry. I don't mean to be irritating.
Once the hallowed halls of these crypts now serve a greater purpose. The heroes you sought to honor lie desecrated, disturbed not by mere chance, but design. Come and see my empire of undeath, an empire built on your precious sanctuaries, where we, the dead, serve a higher calling. Your sacred relics, your noble heroes, all have been conscripted into a greater purpose that transcends your mortal decay. Come and see. Death is not the end.
Headstone pushed aside.
Casimir just grabs Quan's forearm and is like, I really want to go and see.
We are not going.
Merkel's wisdom has shown us the truth. There
Oh,
is
God damn
power
it.
beyond the reach of the living.
That sounds perfect.
That sounds terrible.
No, we are not chasing the spooky boys.
There's-
Calling the
You just said this
That
Oh,
sounds
yeah,
power.
yeah.
absolutely terrible.
Power
That's so
beyond the
bad.
reach of the living. What could be better?
This is a disaster.
I mean, we don't know. I mean, what's wrong
Taken
with
a bunch of paladins of Tyr and resurrected them into Death Knights.
Oh, they won't be.
This is terrible.
Empire of Undeath. What, in the sewers? Why would you build an empire in the sewers? Come on now. Surely you must
This
mean
is literally the worst thing that could have happened.
Surely you must mean to invade the surface or something.
There's no response from whatever it is.
I mean, I'm desperate to come and see. I'll not lie, gentlemen. I shan't lie. This isn't very circus coded. This sort of transcends the frivolities of a circus. I am now calling into question whether or not it was Gregarious Skellington who looted the halls of Tyr. This seems a little more serious than a fun acrobat man.
This is damn sight more serious than a circus. And I haven't even been to a circus.
well, actually, perhaps the relics are in danger. Should we leave this undead? He's just like waving his hands. He doesn't even know what to make of it. He's just like, to do its evil things. Maybe we should put a stop to it.
So they are.
We definitely should, but we should take the other relics back to the paladin straight away. Make
Does
sure that he doesn't take any more.
Does anyone have a paper bag? Maybe we could suspend it mid-air so it can't see anymore.
I believe I'm not an expert by any means in terms of
One's
describing
hand
things.
passed through it. Unless you have a magical paper bag.
I think
try
it
I'll
can
try
see
and
through
attack it.
paper bags. I'm not
Yeah, make
entirely
an
sure.
attack roll.
No, do you know?
Yeah.
DM, just at this point, I'd probably join the rest of the gang in the sewer-like tunnel.
Yes, absolutely. You can hear this, you can see this.
That's-
Quan, what's your attack roll?
That's 9.
Roll damage. This creature is not moving. You are swinging at an inanimate object.
Well, Quan eyes are very small. I don't feel bad about not being able to.
13 points of damage.
Something.
Shut the fuck up.
You see this as Quan strikes through something and it crystallizes as a green irised eye that shatters, and just the glasses of it land on the ground as a small wisp of soul energy escapes off. And whispering in the wind, there is, the choice is yours. But know this, in the end, we will all face the choice that we have.
I still don't really understand if he meant come into the tunnel to come and see, or if there was somebody else I was meant to. I'd love to, I just don't know where to go.
I would advise us to, as Quan has suggested, return the now obviously sought relics to the ecclesiarchy while we still can.
Quite, and then I'll continue my search for Merkel's cultists, which I had begun before I came down here, and in fact feels incredibly relevant now. of course we shall try and stop them.
Of
A
course.
quick
course.
point of order, folks, as Arvis approaches from behind. Am I right in thinking we're going to return 4 out of the 5 artifacts?
Yes.
Well, yeah,
We have 4.
because there's only 4. Just to
I
clarify that.
understand, but
Yeah, it'd
why
be
would
quite
we
hard
not
to return
return 3? No, Luke understands. Arvis is asking.
Why would we not return all of them?
Well, because I'm sure some of these powerful tools could be used along our saintly quest.
Arvis,
I'm sure.
just think. These are great relics, as you said, of power. Do you really think that there is a way for us to easily just pocket one without them realizing, knowing where it is? It's not a
I
risk.
suppose the crux of my question lies in the fact that if we're returning 4 of them, do we not risk that anyway of them wondering and being suspicious? Why
Oh.
is 4 such a wonderful number and 3 sacrilege?
Because 4 is the truth. And 2, a group of people who can detect lies and falsehoods say that we are best off relying on that.
Agreed.
It is true.
He has a point. He has a point.
Even I feel
I've
this is
thought of
too
that
risky.
already, but I have thought of this already, and I suppose the true thing, how do you say this, perhaps is something in the finer details, where one might not so much keep the relic, but deny them of it, if you know what I mean. Powerful, perhaps, as an aid in our quest. Yes, I understand if we were to keep it, that might pose some kind of risk under a truthing scenario. However, if we really are worried about them getting their hands on these artifacts, we could leave one behind or somewhere else. Not in our possession, not ours.
These are so important that it's unlikely, should we fail to return 2 of the artifacts, that they wouldn't send more people down here straight after us to try and retrieve them. They will get their hands on it, one way or another. There's no question in that.
I do think, though, we
Alright.
should probably just ask if Quan can have one as one of Tyr's champions and, resolutely hunting down the 5th. Why
I'm
not?
not against asking. Like, we can always ask, but we should return them.
Come on, we can steal things another day. When we decide that fuck the ecclesiarchy, we can steal them off Tyr's champions' corpses.
I do really think we should reconsider our shared definition of the word stealing.
Appropriate. Abscond with. Remove. Ownerless objects.
That's
I
more like
think
it.
we should remove our thoughts from stealing and get back to our plan of returning to whatever that woman's name was. Sorry, I can't remember.
Well, my point was, Quan, is that I agree with you by definition.
You do?
I don't think you understand me right, but yes, we do agree.
Arvis and Casimir using clever words to disguise their intentions. Go on.
I'm not trying to disguise anything.
I see.
The semantics.
Neither am I.
I see. He says clearly not understanding.
Look, let's give
Semantics.
the things back to the paladins, and we know they're going to be used in war. That is fine. We will get the 5th. Maybe we'll decide to do something with the 5th. We can discuss that one later. Maybe we will end up fighting the paladins wielding these in the war. And if we do, we will take the objects from them. Done. Good.
Righty-ho. So we crawling in a fucking sewer now, is it?
Well, will we not simply return through the ziggurat and the temple where we came?
Yes, let's keep to the plan of return the things, come back down, tell them we need to pursue the fifth. Maybe the vague threat of come and see did really mean the sewers, I am unsure. But we might as well give chase, see if there are any clues, and if not, return to the inn, have some drinks. I'll go find Merkel cultists tomorrow, and maybe the paladins will tell us something about blood magic, as I request. Sounds like
Right,
a
you
good
are.
day. I'm excited for this. God, Empire of Undeath. Can you imagine? I've never met another necromancer, but there must be quite a few of them to have an Empire of Undeath. I mean, maybe, like, as you kind of return for the thing, he's just, like, talking about how excited he is and all the things he could feasibly learn from these people, and how, of course, abominable their actions may be. Surely there is a point of learning here. He just
So-
seems very excited.
Making your way back through. Do you bring Doran with you?
Yeah. Maybe we
So-
leave him. Maybe we leave him if we think we're coming. We'll leave him on the other side of the door.
Okay.
Whether we'll see
You
you
have
soon.
all 4 artifacts. Arvis, message me about what we messaged about if you take any of those things.
What do you mean if he takes any of those things?
The 4
Exactly.
artifacts, the relics you have been sent to retrieve. 1, do you check what they do? 2, do you have all of them in your possession, or are you intending to give all of them back?
No, we're detect magicking these. We want to know what they do, not least because if we're giving weapons, we should know what they are.
Sure. So I will.
Is it
where's
detect
my-
magic though? Is it not technically
Identify.
identify?
It is.
Identify. Sorry. Yes.
I don't have
sorry,
identify.
you're correct.
Alas,
Wait,
obviously.
does no one have identify?
I don't think I do.
No. But you can identify magic items, I think, for a simple arcana check, or maybe I misremember that. I will look.
No. It has a ritual.
First level
You
spell
can ritual
scrolls
cast
aren't
it.
expensive. If none of you have identify, I think we should buy that spell scroll so I can ritual cast it. Don't. I don't have it, but
You don't know what these items do. They hum with holy magic as you return all 4 of them to the High Canoness and the General. As you knock on the door, peel it back open, a couple of guards stationed outside obviously look at you, look at the items, nod, bring you back through the ziggurat and return you, all of you, if all of you are going, to both the General and the High Canoness, who seem to be engaged in some kind of conversation in the High Canoness's office, some of you which recognize, and turn to you. Ah, you've returned, the High Canoness turns. I'm glad, but without aspirants
no, they've died.
has
Quite
misfortune.
sadly.
They didn't make it.
We are sorry.
May they find guidance in the afterlife through Tear's light.
There is a further, rather significant issue in that we have 4 of your 5 artifacts. The 5th has been stolen. We would seek your permission to
Presumably
return.
by the murderers.
Presumably, perhaps. We would seek your permission to return down and give chase. We thought it best to return the 4 out of 5 first to ensure their safety.
There is a magical breach in the crypt now connects the sewers to
I
your
saw.
crypt.
Are you telling me that someone has cut a hole from the sewers to our sacred tombs?
I have
Exactly.
some more bad news.
We are saying that.
There was some necromancy involved. Your Sir Alistair someone... Death Knight, sorry. We had to dispatch him.
And by dispatch him, Casimir means defend ourselves when he attacked.
Lay him to
Yes.
rest, once again, yes.
The general looks troubled for a second and says, "Which four did you retrieve?"
The one's not the sword.
The sword is missing.
I presume you lay them down in front of them at this point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the others were slain. Did you happen to ascertain anything about their murderer?
We have our
Is it
suspicions.
animated dead or something else?
We have our suspicions. We would have to investigate further, I'm afraid.
You must not as a reticence of telling you the information, but we do not want to accuse people without
Right.
some grounding in knowledge or evidence.
Right.
I would know the suspects, or at least some description, or
A robed floating figure?
Lich. There's probably a lich involved.
you have a description rather than suspects. I understand your reticence. This sacrilegious, this desecration. Thank you for helping uncover it. We will do what is necessary to protect those who are sacred and laid rest beneath. And yes, the sword missing is troubling. We will dispatch our own people, clearly, but if you are willing to aid in this, we are willing to allow you back beneath.
Well, we were doing this to prove our trustworthiness. So what's a little more proof?
I can tell, and she looks between each of you. None of you are secretly harboring the sword of the Justicar. So unless we find it below, I can with good faith believe what you have said, and we can retrieve those who are dead.
Yeah, I'd hold off on that for a little bit. Maybe a few more hours.
There are still threats
DM
below.
question.
Maybe.
Yes.
Question from me. Would I suspect any of the artifacts I may have come across were to be the sword of
No, very clearly
Yeah.
the sword was missing. You literally opened up like a chest that had like 5 slots, and 4 of them were filled, and 1 sword slave shot was missing.
Maybe it was misplaced.
So,
um,
High Canoness, General Thorn. We have upheld our end of proving worthiness and creating trust. I believe there was a mutual end in which we asked if you had any information around magic practices as they pertain to Lilith and Lilith's followers, or in recent days, perhaps other sects.
Dudley, what do you understand of blood magic?
Universal reagent. We saw a lot of it in the Stormlands. Lilith's followers' halls.
Certainly.
That's it.
It goes beyond that. It is a universal reagent in the sense that we all are. Each of you and each of us, each tree, plant, creature, person in Lukai is blessed with some shard of the divine. This is the energy heralds from our star that flows through and that we contain. It is therefore an understanding that higher concentrations of this enable powerful spells, rituals, and with those who have the malice and ambition kill enough. A path. Godhood. You ask what we know? We know that high concentrations of this are often attempted to be gathered by those who seek to recreate what Lilith has done. We're unaware of any activity of Lilith's followers beyond what you encounter in the Stormlands.
Insight check.
Yep, go for it.
Can I join?
9.
Gosh. 13.
13. No. She doesn't know. So you ask what we know about it, what the provisions are.
I also rolled insight.
Oh, sure, go for it. What did you get?
20.
Let's fucking go!
Well, bravo,
message you.
Quan. Is that a skull back scratcher?
The skelly hand, yeah.
Oh, cool.
No.
Touch of the dead.
Yes. Yes.
Is that spelled? The
Chill touch.
chill touch? Yeah.
Bam.
No, I truly never will regain HP.
Okay, so you asked about what they know about blood magic, right? Or what, like, provisions against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if you are going to be encountering practitioners or users, you must understand that they are not simply attempting to use your vitality as energy. They are attempting to pull out your very soul, the shard of the divine that we all hold. Your mind, your being. And that is what you must protect. It is not your flesh and blood. It is what makes you you, but also part of the greater whole. We believe, and we have demonstrated in our fights, similar mind shielding magic works. They are not attacking your body, they are attacking you, wherever you conceptualize that to be.
Yeah, and is there anything like kind of wild and mind-blowing about the revelation that it's a literal divinity inside every being and it comes from our star and like all this stuff? Is any of this like really mind-blowing? Or is this like oh yeah, that makes sense?
So it's mind-blowing in the sense that, like, you're talking to a bunch of religious zealots who are telling you that this extremely powerful magic that comes from... Like, Kazame probably doesn't necessarily agree. You think this is maybe religious zealotry. But, like, what they're telling you is... Yeah. Like, to you it's a arcane fuel of the soul that naturally comes with people's life essence. But to these people it is something else. But either way, the fact that Lilith used it to ascend makes sense. So I guess your question was non-specific enough that that's their answer. If you want to know more, obviously.
I
they're willing
can't
to share.
remember what exactly we asked.
Do they know anything about Lilith's servants? No. Do they know what do they know about blood magic? This is what they know. That it's people calling upon the inherent shards of divinity within, often to cast powerful spells or attempt to ascend to godhood.
And are you aware of sects that practice this outside of Lilith? Obviously, we encountered this in the Stormlands. It could crop up anywhere. I suppose now we've been
Certainly, yes.
exposed to it. What do you know of other practitioners?
Certainly, you are aware that there are certain rituals or incantations or spells that can only be cast during that reserve's months. You must be aware that this attempt or can be circumvented via this use of soul divine magic. It's not so much that religious entities practice it, it is that, sects practice it. There aren't sects in Bukai devoted to this blasphemy, but instead, throughout history, throughout time, there have been villains, sorceresses, people who have attempted to circumvent the natural laws via this power.
Are there any such now? It's already ascended, so why did we encounter covens and stormlands? The question is loaded.
Quan, with your 20, she begins to say something, and Thorn kind of gives her a stare, and she holds herself for a single second and says, "Certainly, much is not well that we would seek to rectify, but the exact nature of that remains to be confirmed. And I, like you, not want to throw out accusations without certainty. Accusations can do such damage."
So that's an
I do
obvious
not agree.
lie, right? Because we
No,
know
it's not
that
a
she
lie.
knows.
Well, from that, you might perhaps prefer that she is unwilling to give you the information, but she's telling you that there is something afoot. She just doesn't tell you what.
So it sounds to me as though we've undergone a trust exercise, but you still don't trust us.
She sighs for a second and says, "There are... you don't seem naive.
I wish I
Are you?
was.
No. There are levels to this trust. You aren't in the innermost circle of the ecclesiarchy because you retrieved some relics from a tomb.
We understand.
Fine.
But trust perhaps goes further than that. Surely, as a paladin of Tyr, as somebody that has clearly shown you that we are willing to help, and as somebody that perhaps will be in the coming fights, should there be any, against this sort of evil, we would hope that you would share with us anything that could benefit your cause, as it may be ours as well.
He looks at you, and the expression definitely softens. Roll a persuasion check.
With advantage, that was sick.
With advantage, sure.
So reasonable.
Do you need advantage?
What do you mean, do I need
Sigh,
advantage? I'm
come
fucking
on.
rolling. Okay, right.
I needs advantage, thoughts, and prayers.
Okay, that's a 3.
Gosh.
Fuck's
That's
sake.
3 with
man.
It's
advantage.
an 18 with advantage.
18 with advantage.
3 with advantage.
A
I
3
mean,
with
is
advantage.
is that really out of the realms of possibility? Let's be real.
To you, it says,
Good.
"There are wars to come, with more than the tyrant to the south. We believe that Lilith's re-emergence in the Stormlands is not a coincidence, that more seek to emulate her, and we would have them stifled. That is our mission, to ensure balance, the order of Lukai remains intact, so that no more suffers as the Academia suffered, as we suffered in that fight."
Can I insight check that?
Yeah, I'll also check that. I think I believe it though.
Fuck it, I'll do it too.
I think this could be an important one. I only got a 16. Okay.
17,
What are you-
which is about as
What are
good
you
as
all
I can
attempting
roll.
to reason out? What are you looking at her for? What's got you insightful in her statement?
Okay, what I think
Right.
I want to know is when she's talking about a motivation behind stopping Lilith copycats being about making sure no one suffers like the academia suffers. Like, is her war intended in good faith?
Exactly.
Oh, like, she believes with a religious fever in those words. There is a steel and a determination that you get through that is they are going to do what is right and what is just. And that is their purpose. It is, and this is what they believe to be that. Suffering doesn't necessarily play into it in the short term.
Right, so it's laced with an understanding that, yeah, like, they're gonna bring some bad war to Dominus, but it will be...
Well, they haven't said Dominus yet. You know that.
Yeah,
Dominus,
I know, but...
Yeah.
Okay, I guess it sounded like she was genuinely remorseful about the war and how the ecclesiarchy conducted it. So
You
I
get the
guess
sense
that was
that
what
is
was
what
like.
they tell themselves. I can say with the 16.
She's telling herself.
She would not have been. She would have been young when that war happened.
Yeah.
She probably wasn't involved. Whether or not she's believed the propaganda, it's maybe not. But you get with the 16.
Okay.
War and fighting is the last resort. But as you demonstrated with Razor, often it is a necessity.
Right. Well, I hope that should the day come that you do face a copycat of Lilith, you might consider us among your allies who wish to see it rifled. I'm sure you must have them. This cannot be a crusade for the ecclesiarchy alone. The matter of Lilith must be something that includes the many.
If another finds her station, the world as we know it will end.
We failed to stop Lilith.
We've seen evidence of Lilith, right? Like Purple Star.
Yeah.
She's still out there, you know. I wonder what she's waiting for. I don't think we yet know the full extent of the consequences of her intentions. I think we're yet to find out, really.
We certainly removed many of those who would follow her. And as such, her influence wanes. Mordecai says, unnecessary cruelty. One we do not have to hope to repeat.
Well, in any event, I'm sure this will be a much easier endeavour if we find your sword for you.
What the canon says. You talk as if there's something I'm not telling you. Spit it out.
Friends in real life who aren't D&D characters. Oh no,
Yeah.
what do we say to that?
Yeah. Some
Spit
quick,
it out. It's
some
not that
quick
voice.
mental. A smart person. This would occur to a smart person.
Yeah. What would occur to a
Mental
smart
gym-
person right now?
Some mental gymnastics about an answer which.
Channel the current Prime Minister.
No!
Don't answer the
We
question.
certainly believe
but
that
respond.
Lukai exists.
Yeah. It's not Dominus. We suspect
sir.
it's Greg Skellington, and we're not telling her.
What? No.
Why not though? What's wrong with telling
It's
her
that or Dominus, or we tell her something else. She knows that we know, and we're just talking about this stuff.
We certainly believe.
that flights to Rwanda exist. That it is possible. By the way,
They leave the
like,
airport
on an
semi-regularly.
entirely unrelated note, I got the funniest message from my friend. Basically, he's from the UK, lives in Switzerland, went to a business conference in Rwanda. He was flying back from Rwanda, and Switzerland, his visa expired, and he was basically in an environment where he was going to get deported from Switzerland, but kind of from Rwanda to the UK. And I was like, this is not. You need to tell the Daily Mail your story. Like, because he
Oh my
wasn't going to be
God.
allowed back into Switzerland. He was going to be sent to the UK.
Oh my God.
Jamie, is there anything in like the conscription that's kind of public knowledge that predates the announcement of Abaddon's War?
No.
Okay.
No, there isn't.
And she
Don't
might
even
be
try.
guessing, but the way you've been questioning her,
Hmm.
her job is intelligence.
Or you tell her that the Sovereign Arbiter approached us to spy on them.
That is the question.
If you tell them we know about Dominus, we are never leaving. Like, you don't let those people go. Like,
I think I'm stressed about that one because it's like my enemy is Ptolemy, right? Is the High Praetor. Does he win out of either of these two people knowing either of those things? Like, or does it fuck him up because he's no longer double agenting?
Maybe.
Okay, he's going to say, look,
You-
we certainly know that a war with Abaddon is incoming. It will throw the world into chaos. We are also quite clearly aware that there are other forces conspiring out there. We saw it in the Stormlands, we saw evidence of activity elsewhere in Lakai, and now here coming to Al-Arafa, we see it making its way into your temple. We know you cannot be blind to these threats. If we've seen it, you certainly have. I suppose as fellow protectors of the world, I'm hoping if there is a threat that we can be pointed at it.
Make a persuasion check.
I'm so scared. 17. Okay, it's okay.
She takes a second, pauses. You're right. There is something greater than Abaddon's war. Perhaps. There is somebody attempting what Lilith once did. For full transparency, I am not yet willing to share with you who that is. Should you return the sword, I will take that as both your next step in trust, but also your acceptance in helping us stop that person.
Sort of like moving our reputation from honoured to revered or to exalted, maybe. He doesn't say that, sorry, that's a World of Warcraft reference.
Casimir doesn't make World of Warcraft references.
He doesn't play WoW. He doesn't play games. Very fair. Very fair indeed.
You. Points at you.
Who's you?
Casimir.
Okay.
I know you from somewhere.
We've seen people from Sacramore here, haven't we?
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest, probably yes.
Should I think of you from that?
What you should think is that the person in front of you is quite clearly not fairly portrayed in what you have probably seen. A person in the materials you have probably seen is accused of some such activities. Probably would not have put his life at risk in a vault dedicated to retrieve the Ecclesiarchy's artifact. He
Or
probably
to
would have
elevate
turned
Lara.
everyone. No. Nor would he
Redemption
have the Queen of...
One step to forgiveness, if it was needed.
Yeah, but I didn't do it, though.
Hmm.
I did some of it, but not actually the bad things.
Have any of you lied about your names?
Not recently.
What
Did
is
you
the
lie,
name?
Casimir?
No, I don't think I did.
Casimir, Pod, Quan, Arvis. Did you give a name, Mercy, or not?
I think I must have done 2 weeks ago, having to like come back as Atropos.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Atropos. Atropos. Are you in Mercy's form now?
No.
Or would you?
probably
Yeah,
not. I'm probably in Atropos' form.
Atropos.
The name is but a
Allow
title.
me to take several notches down. I'm grateful for the service you have performed today, and I am willing and grateful if you wish to pursue what has happened to our Sword of the Justicar and the murderers below, the Ecclesiarchy, Prelate, and myself be immensely grateful should you find out what has happened and bring the perpetrators to justice. Despite your transgression into the mind of my friend here, even should you choose to leave now, I will consider us friendly acquaintances, and you are welcome. Bring things to my attention so you should wish. I understand we live in a world of white, of black, and every shade in between. I do not expect purity of those I work with. Simply a moral compass that often tilts towards the right and the just. Do I have that with you? Or
Yeah,
is
but-
this a mistake I'm going to make?
If I may, we passed Tyr's trials in the vault. We didn't kill a cat. So you know where our moral compass points.
I'm always curious why he chose a cat. Surely a more abhorrent animal would do better.
Well, I
Something
think
you might want to kill even. Who wants to kill a cat?
that's true, actually. Nobody in their right mind would ever kill a cat.
No, certainly. Nonetheless, this isn't an interrogation. You're not under arrest. And you certainly are free to go. But should you choose to remain and help, thank you.
You will no doubt be sending people into the crypt to remedy search for the sword to ensure that it is indeed lost and fix the hole in the crypt. I would just note that there may be some small folk, vagrants.
We did
We
kind of
found
leave.
that-
Liliana, can we retcon and say that she knows where our inn is? And
Yeah, you can give them your in and they'll go there. Yes, sorry, but if you continue.
Okay. What? Are they not in there anymore then? If
You would have heavily advised them perhaps that this isn't a safe place to be. I think you did already.
Okay, cool. I'll still say it to these guys. I'll be like, as just and fair people, we would hope that your treatment of these people who found their way by accident, we believe, had no participation in the theft of the sword or the vandalism of the crypt itself, simply were seeking a refuge from the cold and something to eat. They may still be there, they may not. We suggested they should leave, and that having not understood the significance of where they were squatting. But should your people find them there, we trust that they will not be subjected to harsh punishments.
Ignorance is not always an excuse, but we will certainly take your word on board in discussing leniency. Thank you. So, is this goodbye for now, or shall you begin the search for our missing relic and the murderers? We are willing to aid you, should you choose yes, be it freedom of the city, be it information. What would you require? But we will expect reports and results. So,
No
from
resources.
also looking at it, and it's 11. D&D Boyband. Are you going to track down the relic and the murderers, or are you going to leave this for now?
So I
Oh,
think
we are, right?
I think
Now and next week.
we would want to do it anyway. It's just, do we want to do it with the expectation of the
them.
ecclesiarchy behind us, or do we just want to do it?
Yeah, D&D Boyband.
And I suggest we do it because we don't want them sending another team to compete with us.
Right. We want full control over this. And if we discover anything that makes us think they shouldn't have their sword... Oh no, Merkelites took it. Sorry.
Or
They
at
were-
that point, we
It was so powerful.
Yeah.
Oops.
Is that the consensus? Quan, Pod, Arvis?
Like it's,
Yeah, I mean,
Pod
not for
wouldn't-
the same reasons, but
Consensus is, from my knowledge as DM, moving forward. Pod,
Yeah.
do you agree?
yeah.
Arvis?
Yes, yes. No, I agree that we shouldn't say yes to it, but run with it. That's what I think.
okay, that's not what we're agreeing to, but sure.
No, are you saying
Cool,
yes to
that's what I'm
them,
saying.
or are you saying no? Is the question. Whether or not what you do afterwards is up to you, but right now in this moment, are you saying yes, or are you leaving on
Pod
good terms?
realistically would be nodding very enthusiastically, like terrified.
Yeah, you can lie and say yes, and then leave and not do anything, but it's what terms are you leaving the ecclesiarchy on?
Might as well leave them on good terms in that case and say yes, and if we choose to, we do. If we don't, we don't.
For your own reasons that you have yet to discuss amongst yourselves, perhaps.
We might fail. Who knows?
You agree that you are going to attempt to hunt down the Sword of the Justicar, that you are going to find out who left that strange message, and what has happened to the skeleton, which you haven't mentioned, of the tomb.
Yeah, I think as they leave the office, Casimir's just gonna be like, one of your paladins, sorry, the vertebrae and the enchanted soul lining. I'm a necromancer. He's still alive.
No. I meant every body
Oh,
in the sacred
No,
tomb
what-
at the end.
Yeah. He's gonna be like, look, I left one of them reanimated. Finish his mission. Maybe let him bury his friends or something. So you're missing a lot of skeletons.
Given that it's 11, we're not going to deal with that right now. We'll deal with that. But for now, you have agreed. And that is perhaps, presumably, what you might do next session. We shall see. But for everybody, thanks for watching. We will catch you next week. Au revoir. And thank you very much to Sai for joining, not feeling particularly well. I know a lot of people have the flu. It's going around right now. Bye-bye.
Peace, gang. This was mega fun. See you next week. Bye.
No.